There's flying your gains. Pay zero commission on all stocks, shares and ETFs. IG, trade, invest, progress.
An effective anti-blemish routine always starts with cleansing.
Meet Dermal Pure Clinical Purifying Cleanser, an ultra-pure formula powered by BHA, clinically proven to cleanse and correct blemish. Dermal Pure, treat with confidence.
She built a massive platform giving women advice on how giving them advice
Oh, hi, Bobby,
on
right.
how to lead these situations, how to avoid these situations, advice on discernment and manifestation. You name it, she spoke about it. Now we're getting videos like this on TikTok where women are asking, how could this happen to the Wizard Liz?
Wizard Liz built her platform on telling women how to not end up in this exact situation that she's in. I'm asking this question in good faith as someone who wasn't familiar with her prior to how did this happen? And I'm not victim blaming. I'm genuinely, sincerely confused. As someone who presented herself as keenly aware of all the methods men could use to ruin your life, how they often moonlight as dementors, has she ever explained how she ended up with this man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Well, sort of, because the last few days I've had the swelling in my foot. Like I've got water retention in my foot, and I've been to the GP because they say if it happens in one foot, it could mean like it's a serious like a blood clot or like a sign of thrombosis or something. And the GP told me it's heat. I'm like, shouldn't heat affect both feet? Because my left foot is really skinny, and my right foot looks like a flipping elephant. It's like an elephant paw. So it doesn't hurt. But I'm like, I think you're undermining the situation. Hello. Hello. Oh. Comments have been filtered already. Hello.
Okay, there's one video. Now, the first thing I'm thinking is a lot of these stances aren't necessarily wrong. There are things that come off as desperate to men. There are ways where you can focus on yourself and
probably, I don't know. The confusing thing is that TikTok says we filtered a comment, but they don't actually tell you. They don't actually tell you what's been filtered, so you don't know what's been said. And then people that come on wonder why that they see their comments missing. It's like, well, I can't control it. I really. No, I don't think it was. Because it's happened on and off for the last few weeks, but a few days ago it was really bad. I could it felt numb. I could literally feel the pressure between my ankle and my foot. Oh, possibly. That'll be
So there's that could never be me, and
that'll be
there's
why.
how could that be me? And Liz positioned herself and her platform as a that could never be me
Hello.
platform, rather than asking herself, how does a woman like me end up in a situation like this? And when you say that could never be me, in some ways,
Hello,
you're
for everyone
sort
that's
of
coming in,
tempting fate. And
I can
making
turn
sure
the
that
wishes
does
thing
become
off.
you, because you're creating blind spots in the way you speak about these issues. That is how pride and ego limit our
Use it.
futures or lead us down the path to bad decisions. And I
Hello,
will say,
for everyone that's coming in that hasn't come across my lines before, you can call me Animus. This is a political live, but not a political debate live. It's more a political chat live. Just to give you a bit of a run through, I run the Facebook page called Goths Centrism. This is a live to link to the Facebook page, where I, as a centrist, want to talk to others about their political views, see if we can find common ground. And the prompt behind me is, for those who disagree with ICE, what would be the alternative to dealing with illegal criminals if you disagree with ICE's methods? So I want to hear other people's perspectives, and if you have alternative views to it, I like to hear it. Because it's completely up to you. I also do religious Q&A lives, but I'll be doing them in the next few weeks because I have a course to finish. So after around mid-June, I'll be going back to doing them over the weekend. Is that you asking me what I think about open borders?
But once a woman has standards, and it's like, if you're a broke guy, and with broke guys, I don't mean men that are poor. I mean men that don't know how to...
No, I know it's ridiculous. I mean, there are some left-wing views I agree with, but I don't agree with all of them. I specifically do not agree with leftism, like the extreme form of left-wing politics. I don't agree with it. Open borders, why not? Open borders are theoretically fine as long as those who are coming in are coming through the correct channels, in the sense that they are coming through legally. If the open borders are being mismanaged, like they are, where they are allowing people coming in undocumented and in fact being snuck in, because even though the issue's being focused on the boats coming in, you've got people or illegal migrants coming in via trucks, planes, they're hiding in the luggage areas. Because they're coming in that way and they're not being dealt with, that's where open borders have an issue, because they are not being properly managed. And that's why people are opting for closed borders, because closed borders are better managed.
So for someone like Liz, who experienced a broke father, who stole money from the family, who was never a provider, a man could show up paying for a ton of things.
It's less so restriction and more closed borders encourage legal means of people coming in. So that if you have closed borders, they are literally encouraged to come through legally. So they are giving the correct documentation to say, I have a right to come into this country. That's why we have passports, because it is a document, a little mini document, to say who you are, where you're from, and that you are a legal citizen of the country you're coming from into another country, so they can actually keep tabs of where you're travelling from and to. A lot of illegal migrants are not having that, and in fact it's though the countries that they're coming from, the traffickers, will actually encourage these people to throw away their documents, any documentation that they have, and just come to the country they're going into without anything. Or you've got the other issue where they say, give us your documents so we can actually give you safe transport to the country you want to go to, and then they steal that documentation off that person to use it for themselves, leaving the people with nothing other than to go on these dinghies. So they literally they've had their documentation stolen. Well, I want to know, I want to let the country I'm going into know that I'm safe. So I give them the passport to say, look, I've come into your country legally and I'm therefore prepared to follow your rules and your laws whilst I'm residing in this country, because if you go against that country's laws and regulations, you can literally be chucked out, and they will use that passport, and it actually will leave a mark on your passport to say this person has disrespected our country by doing this and that, and it leaves a mark. So I'd rather have that system in place to say, look, I am willing to respect you, and I respect the same respect from others. I prefer a passport over digital ID, because that's where I do draw the line. The digital ID, it's all come out, even though our government has pushed it through now, that when somebody's been given a digital ID, and this is concrete evidence from China itself, Chinese citizens that have actually documented it. Once you put onto a digital ID, anybody can hack in your accounts. Anybody can shut down your banks. In fact, the government can actually do that. They can actually shut down your banks. Any bank account you have, it can restrict any money access. So I'd rather a passport than a digital ID, which I think is because I think what the digital ID is going to do is going to replace everything. It's going to replace any legal documentation that you have, including your passport. So everything will be digital. I think our is needed. Yeah, they are. Bayman, we have to agree to disagree on this one.
Some issues, and of course, hindsight is 20/20. But in watching this video, Landon says if you have a trust issue with your partner, this is something that you need to look through. You need to forgive. Otherwise,
well, I will agree to disagree, unless you can give me a proper reason why you think centrists are spineless. As in, I would like to hear your views. If you want to come up as a guest and explain why centrism is wrong, I will quite happily see it. But all I'm seeing from you is spineless. That's not a reason, is it? Flush myself. What does that mean?
And watch Landon during this video.
Is that another way of you saying you think I should top myself? Because that is a threat, and I'm going to have to consider not blocking you from my lives.
Okay, so she just gave her view on marriage and said, if the relationship is not serving you, you can leave that relationship. Now, some people do not necessarily believe that about marriage. Others believe that marriages go through highs and lows and trust issues, and marriage is about commitment, about that value token, about working through those issues and those highs and lows. Landon didn't seem in this video particularly
Hello.
what she was saying, even though he was nodding his head. And in the previous video we watched, the he said you should forgive trust issues. And in this secondary video, you have Liz saying the relationship with your husband is not serving you. You should leave that relationship. Two very contradicting ideas and a massive red flag for anybody who's thinking of marrying the counterpart who is sharing the opposite of what you just shared, but that has gone over the head. Why? Because we
Thanks, Bob.
it seems, in regard to this relationship and other things. Here's one more video of Landon and Liz.
Is it true that a man is willing to do anything for the right woman? I'm gonna answer this. Yeah. I think when a man knows and he feels out in his heart that this person is the person who he's going to travel the world, go to show you that. So if you're in a relationship with a guy, you've been in a relationship for a long time, and it's just like making you feel taken for
I don't. Oh, you better not.
It's not even about money. Like, some men genuinely put no effort.
I don't know how to switch my cam. Oh, I've done it. Okay.
There's nothing bad with, like, at least go to work or get their girl a house, learn something nice on it. That's so sweet, these things.
So two people can be very compatible and have that feeling of like they like each other, but maybe it's just not the right time either. Some people need to grow. I feel like God kept us apart in a lot of ways until we were ready to give this a shot.
Okay, my life video says never settle for less on it. When you hear how this relationship went, I think we would change the words on that particular TikTok. Now, interestingly enough, Liz immediately brings up money. She says it's not about money, and she says this often in so many of her videos. But as we get to the end of this relationship and Liz's most recent expose on everything that's happened, you're going to see the word money pop up a lot, as it does in so much of her content. And I think it's because money means a lot more to her than she's necessarily willing to admit, even though her content centers largely around money. Now, Landon in this video talks about a man who loves you is going to travel, he's going to go to the ends of the earth, he's going to do all these things for you. This sort of, if he wanted to, he would mentality that we hear so often in modern dating these days. And while to a certain extent a lot of that is true, I think people are not leaving enough room for what so many people will do just to get at you, just because they want you. I think a lot of both men and women in the beginning of relationships go through what we'll call the honeymoon phase, where everything is perfect and everybody's doing everything right, and he's traveling around and he's buying you this and she's doing that, and they think that that is love. Or they confuse it for love. And with Landon and Liz, at the beginning of their relationship, she states that he was paying all of her bills, he was traveling to see her in her country, he was buying her all these gifts, he was showing up in any way he could, giving little space for his family and a ton of space for her. And all these things a man will do for you just because he wants you, not because he loves you. And I think women feel all this goodness and wonderfulness and these warm feelings and these honeymoon moments, and they think that this is an extension of his love for you, when in reality,
thanks, Bob.
a man who loves you is going to show you the fallible parts of his nature as well. Not everything in a relationship is going to be good and perfect all the time. So maybe travels to you and buys you gifts and pays all your bills. That's good and great, and a lot of men will.
Sorry, YouTube's being a pain. Not.
Going through one of those things you never think about until it stops working. I work from home, so when my Wi-Fi started dropping out, it was an absolute nightmare.
Give me a minute.
And it made switching so easy. You just put in your passcode, and then you will be available.
Be right back. Hang on.
Wi-Fi is
I'm back.
scenes and such, and surely the public has a right to know exactly what happened. So that is what this video is about. And if you do like my discussions on these things, please do subscribe to the channel, help to support this channel growing. I am an individual, I do not have a team.
Well, my fan's just falling down.
Just
Strong.
what I do is myself. So I appreciate you subscribing to the
Stay
channel.
up.
So thank you so much. So I think in this case, it is not simply a question of whether we want to see the footage. It is not just about public curiosity.
Hello.
Some people might be curious, but that is not the point. But legally, what are you actually entitled to see? Do police have to release the body cam footage? Can the family obtain it? Can journalists obtain it? And can you obtain it by a freedom of information
Hello.
request? Will it be shown at an inquest?
For everyone that's coming in hasn't come across my lives before, you can call me Animus. This is my political live under Goths Centrism. It's linked to a Facebook page that I run, which is a political theme page, which incorporates many different political views. I also do religious lives, so you probably recognise me from that, or religious Q&A lives, but I've currently stopped those until mid-June. So if you guys want to talk about politics with me, I literally mean talk, not debate, because I want to avoid debating. So if you've got any viewpoints that disagree with centrism, I'd like to hear about it. I'd say we'll find common ground. I also got a prompt at the back, which is if you disagree with ICE, what would be the alternative to deal with the issues that they are dealing with, to see what your view would be. So it's completely up to you guys.
He was an 18-year-old student stabbed in Southampton, and obviously the case has attracted a huge amount of attention because of what is alleged to have happened when police arrived. The allegation being discussed unpublicly is that Henry, having been stabbed, is that police attended and that he was treated as a suspect or potential suspect, and that he was handcuffed whilst fatally injured. Some reports and online commentary say that the body-worn footage was also played in court, but that immediately raises a question. If the footage exists, why can we not all see it? But before we jump to any conclusions, I'd like to separate out three different things. Firstly, what happened in the criminal case as against the attacker here, who's now been convicted of murder. Secondly, what happened when the police arrived. And thirdly, whether the police response caused, contributed to, or failed to
Charger. Hello.
So the criminal trial was about the defendant unlawfully killing a worker, which is now being murdered. The police response is an entirely separate question. And a civil claim or inquest issue would focus on whether the police acted lawfully, reasonably, and in accordance with their duties when they arrived. So when people demand that they release the body cam footage, they are really talking about several legal issues or questions.
Hello.
If the body cam footage was part of the evidence in the criminal case, so as a whole, just what happened, is it relevant to an inquest?
Hello.
Is it relevant to a misconduct investigation? Would it be relevant in a civil claim by the family against the police? And there is wider public interest in releasing it so the public can judge for themselves. That is phrased as a question. So, firstly, do the police have to release the body cam footage? The short answer is no. There's no general rule in the laws that says police must publish any body-worn video footage every time there's a controversial incident. Of course, there'll be a decision, and one take the perception if it is in favour of.
Why have you sorry, I'm writing stuff up. Waiting. Who's asked to come up? Oh, okay, never mind.
YouTube videos out there that show you all of these things in great detail. But in England and Wales, the position is a little bit more cautious.
Dyer, is that how you pronounce it? Did you want to come up, or was it an auto request?
Data that could identify and suspects, bystanders, all sorts of medical information, distressing images, and
What did you want to talk about?
voices, faces, and other sensitive material.
I get what you meant.
Simply upload it to X or whatever just because the public demands to advance.
Did you want to talk about the prompts behind me, or did you want to talk about something about satanic? You're about Satanism. That's a form of religious life. Unless you want to talk about. Did you want to talk about Satanism's political view?
Identify witnesses and compromise anybody and that sort of thing. Would it distress the family by releasing it? Again, it's a question here. Whether it changes anything.
Your demon.
Affect a lot of people in different ways. There might be questions caused by the disorder.
Which one? There is a legion. Which one?
All of that essentially means that police have to consider all these things and ultimately they have a discretion. They may release footage or parts of footage where there's a legitimate policing purpose and where the release is necessary and proportionate for that policing purpose.
I'm flattered, but I'm taken.
And frankly, in a case involving the death of an 18-year-old and possible footage of exactly what happened in those tragic, I would not expect the full footage to be released certainly not quickly and casually. I would expect that at the very most, there would be elements of it that would be released and it would be heavily redacted and cut short and so on. But none of that means that it would ever be released, and of course, conversely, none of that means it should never be released.
Steering back the conversation to politics, what is your view? What is your political view?
Another question is whether the family is entitled to see.
And not the demon's not the demon's view, but your view.
The general public may not have a right to see the footage. The family may have a much stronger argument, particularly if there's an inquest and the coroners can obtain relevant evidence, and if the qualification is relevant to how he does.
Because if your view is the same as the demon's, I sadly say that he's taken away your agency.
I would expect that footage, all of it, in its entirety, would be highly relevant, and thus it may be disclosed properly to interested persons in the inquest, which will quite obviously include the family. It's certainly their lawyers.
No? Okay.
But even then, disclosure to family is not necessarily the same as a right is to the general public, as in the whole world, etc. So, in essence, the coroner
Hello.
control how the evidence is used. The footage may be shown in court. It might be summarised. It may be partially redacted. It may quite likely be subject to certain restrictions.
Post a new generated highlight most diamonds. I don't know how to do that. Why advertise that if I don't know how to do that?
Publicly, if the relevant facts can be established in another way.
In another game that is crafted for life's simple pleasures. It's like a maze, it just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost. Don't get off this far.
Hello. Ooh, Savage. Sorry. Johnny Depp's come on the screen. Savage. Courage, did you want to come up and tackle the prompt? So I like talking to you even though we disagree on stuff. Oh, she's gone.
statements may not be able to address adequately. What was visible? What
Hello.
did he say? What did his killer say? What did the officers ask? What did they say? What did they know? And what did they notice? Did they notice any of these injuries at any time?
Oh, my hair goes really flat no matter how many times I put stuff in it to. Hello.
Why there was a delay? Again, all of these are evidential questions which have been highly relevant. So if the footage exists that shows any or all of that, then at some stage someone will have to review it properly. Next, we've had a question as to whether people could obtain that under the freedom of information. This is where, with respect to some people who misunderstand the law, they often just say, "I'll make an FOI request," and they're entitled to everything. But FOIs are not a magic key to video footage, and certainly not police body camera footage. There are multiple exemptions that apply. Firstly, if there's ongoing criminal proceedings or future proceedings, including an inquest, misconduct proceedings, investigations, the police can...
So did you mean to request up, or was it auto?
There are also, as I mentioned, data protection issues and public interest, and those sort of issues as well. And quite obviously, it will contain personal data.
Auto, yes, or you meant to request up?
And it may have scenes that would not be appropriate to just release your FOI request on a random member of the public. So in short, a random member of the public is extremely unlikely that it's possible to get the proof.
What did you want to talk about? Politics in general? Did you want to tackle the prompt behind me?
At most, why it's been exempted if you get as much as an explanation. Now, a person who is actually in the footage might be able to make a data subject access request because they want to appear in the footage, but even that has limits. It is usually limited to you, the data subject, who
Sure.
request. And if it includes other...
I'm curious on why someone obviously not from the United States has an opinion on ICE.
An opinion because of what I've been seeing, and I've been seeing both sides of the political argument against it. So I'm just curious to see what the view is. Like, if you disagree with ICE, what would you suggest? Just because I've seen a lot of people talk about ICE, like for ICE, anti-ICE, but nobody's actually talking about what they would suggest instead of. So I just want to hear people's views on it to get a better idea.
As a whole, immigration is one thing. ICE, the way it is right now in the United States, is a totally separate subject. The way they're going right now, hiring whatever idiots they can, hiring perverts, going in and trying to door knock and just go into anybody's home. No, that's not the way to go about it. Obama deported more people than Trump has, and he didn't have to pew American citizens in the streets.
Yes, I did see about Obama.
Yeah, like I don't understand why, like, people are still questioning, oh, is it wrong or right, blah blah. No, it's just plain and simply wrong, because like you had that one ICE agent that became a whistleblower saying that they are being encouraged to break constitutional law. What is it, like 1 in 3 teenage girls are now appearing to be impregnated while in ICE custody. This is real stuff going on, and people in the United States and apparently elsewhere in the world are vocalizing their opinions on it. These are facts. So these same weirdos that are trying to pick random immigrants up are now essaying teenage girls. And the craziest part to me is they think after they deport them, they're going to be scot-free. No. Because the moment that orange idiot's out of office, we are going to hunt those sick perverts down like they're schnozzies. Every single one of them, they are going to get arrested, they are going to get tried, and they will be convicted for every single essaying of teenage girls. And anyone in defense of ICE right now, I question their morals, their sanity, their education, and whether or not they are a pervert themselves.
So, going back to Obama, I'm not trying to dismiss what he said, because I agree that if there is any ICE agent that has committed those crimes, they should be dealt with, 100%. But going back to Obama, because it's been so long since he was president, what was his procedures in dealing with illegal criminals, and how did he deal with deportation?
The same way we normally have in the past, for lack of a better word.
I don't know.
Okay,
it.
I'm trying to answer it.
So
So lack of a better word, it was a cat and mouse game. They would go in and they would find out where a group of illegals are hanging out. They would get them. What is going on now is not that. What's going on now is they are going into towns, shutting down towns, and trying to enforce. That's why areas like states like California, we lit them up. It made it in national news that in Compton they got pew-pewed at. We're not tolerating that stuff, like, at all. I remember, what was it? The attorney general of our state informed these bounty hunters that thought they were going to get paid by Trump to come into California and pick up immigrants that we will arrest every single one of you. You have no jurisdiction here. Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have immigration, that we shouldn't have some kind of immigration reform, but I'm going to be real with you. The countries that, Big Daddy Trump is tripping on are probably the countries we don't need to worry about as much as other ones. We're worrying about Hispanic people in Hispanic countries and accusing them all of being criminals. And I watched a video the other day of a Hispanic man filming the border, and a bunch of Chinese nationalists and Middle Easterns were coming right over the border, but we're not worried about them as much as we are the Hispanics.
What's the problem with Arabs coming to the border? They want to contribute to the American land.
And the same can be said about the Chinese nationalists. And for the record, I didn't say they were Arab. I said they were Middle Eastern, because I'm not sure which country in the Middle East they come from. They could have been Iranian. They could have been Iraqi. They could have been Afghani. I don't know.
Okay, but what's the problem with them coming through the border?
What's the problem with them coming through the border?
Yes.
The problem with them coming through the border is they, well, like, for instance, you're going after the fact that I brought up Middle Easterns. I want to bring up the Chinese nationalists. How do you know the Chinese nationalists are not trying to undermine the United States or cause some kind of crazy crap like they did when COVID started?
No one is trying to undermine America.
First and foremost, I am very much saying I'm against ICE right now. What I'm stating is we are going after the wrong countries right now in the United States, because we're going after people of Latin descent and accusing them of all being sexual deviants and criminals.
And what are the right countries to go against?
I would say any country from the Middle East or Southeast Asia that is trying to come through Mexico and not their way. 100%.
Why does it matter which way they are coming?
Because how do I know those Middle Easterns are even Middle Easterns? I'm more concerned that those Middle Easterns are actually of Israeli descent, and they're trying to sneak in to undermine the United States. See, you thought I was trying to be a sound prejudice, but it wasn't
No,
that. I'm
listen.
stating that they easily are sending, because it's been proven that the Israeli military is going over to Mexico. They're training people, both their government and the cartel. Don't got no idea why they're training both the good guys and the bad guys over there.
Who proved it? Who proved it?
Who proved it?
Yes, you said it's been proved
The
by who?
Mexican government has released information on that. That the Israeli government has been giving weaponry to both sides of the Mexican government and to the cartel. That is not. You can look that up. I'm not going to look it up for you.
Yeah, what's
Like,
wrong with that? I mean, the CIA is doing the same thing in every war.
I don't even know where to start with that, bro. One, do you know much about the cartel in the United States?
Which cartel?
Absolutely.
The Mexican cartel in America?
Yeah, or any of the cartels, Mexican, El Salvadorian, Guatemalan, Colombian, any of those.
I want to go back.
They do stuff like they're being taught how to create acid by the Israeli government to liquefy people they don't want to have bother them anymore, bro. What do you mean? What's the problem? What's the problem?
No, because I'm just asking you.
Yeah,
I'm not
because see,
saying there is no
my
problem.
problem is, and you got me on the right day. I have a problem with Zionism as a whole. I have a problem with it. I think that the world the world of religions, Christian and Muslims, need to unify, get along, and go after the real problem in this world, which is Zionist Israel.
Okay. I have one question. You said before that why don't Middle Eastern or Southeast Asians come through to from Mexico and not through their way? And you said because it would be better if they come their way, because then you would know if they are Mexicans or not. And I'm asking,
I stated we would know whether or not they're Israeli or not.
but why
Because
does it
that's what
care?
I'm worried
Why
about.
do you care?
Why do I care? Because it's part of the Zionist agenda to take over the world. They're trying to take over all Western civilization so that they can unalive Christian and Muslims.
Well, it wasn't just extremist Zionist extremists that were after that. There were communist and nationalist socialist countries that were trying to do the same, and they had no ties to Israel. So it's not
Which socialist countries can you quote that were that? Because the ones that you're going to try to quote to me right now were never socialist, and they were fascist, and they pretended to be socialist, which is why we think they.
Russia was communist.
Who?
Russia was communist.
I said socialist, not communist. We don't like Russians over here either. We have a whole problem with Russians on the piers of California.
It's a communism is a love child of socialism.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Lenin said, this is from his own quote, that for socialism to work, one man had to rule over them all, and therefore that is why he created communism. Because that was his vision for how socialism would work. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, there may be Zionist extremists who want that control, and there are. However, they are not the only ones trying to rule the world. There are many hands trying to.
And I won't say that there's not. Communism is another problem too, but the reality right now is communism is not the big problem. The communism might have been a big problem in the Cold War.
You know what the biggest problem is?
Right now, isn't it weird? Isn't it weird for world governments? Hold on. Isn't it weird as world governments right now that countries like Russia, North Korea, China are on the side of Palestine and not Israel? Like, at what point are the bad guys on the side of the good guys, and Americans and Europeans are not? Like, at what point do we open our eyes?
Are you aware of the history between communism and Islamic extremism?
Actually, I'm very familiar with it. All right, right over here on my
Do you know
bookshelf
how?
right
Do you know
now.
how
Right
far
over
back
here
it
on my
goes?
bookshelf, I have the Communist Manifesto. I
So
also have the
you,
Doctrine of Fascism.
so you would understand that Islamic extremists made an agreement with communists to align with each other, even they didn't politically or religiously agree with one another, to work together, and that is why you have nationalists and democratic socialists and communists still aligning with Palestine, because it is Islamic extremism that is in Palestine. Hamas is an Islamic extremist organization.
That is your opinion.
It's not an opinion, that is fact. They
No,
actually emerged
no,
from
it's
the
not.
Egyptian Brotherhood.
It's not,
They
because
are the Egyptian Brotherhood.
the reality is that even the UN decided to put Israel on the blacklist because they're essaying women and children, and people
Who are
stand
Hamas.
up. So we're calling them extremists because they're fighting back against what's going on in Palestine. We're calling them extremists because they don't like what's
Hamas.
happening to their people.
Hamas are attacking their own people
Are
in the
you kidding
streets. In
me?
fact, there's footage of a Hamas soldier or agent shooting a Palestinian man in the knee.
Bro, are you kidding me?
And
They are
there's
oppressing their own
videos
people.
of them also bringing back elderly Israeli women, and the Israeli women saying, "Thank you for treating us with respect and kindness." Yeah,
I
a lot
wouldn't
of
say that is
propaganda goes on
Hamas.
in the Middle East.
I wouldn't say that is Hamas. That is Palestinian citizens.
I'm not
They are
saying they
completely.
are either, but I'm also not saying that they're not fighting for the rights of Palestinians, because the Palestinians don't have the right to carry a gun. They don't have the right to defend themselves. They are being slowly but surely pushed out. So if someone like if there weren't organizations like Hamas over there right now, they would have already taken over all of Palestine. They are systematically just walking in people's houses and kicking them out, and it's legal. And the world government looks at it and says, well, they're the chosen people. Well, that's weird if you're Christian or Catholic, because they're spitting on Christian and Catholics there. In
Yes.
Lebanon, they destroyed a statue
The
of Jesus and
extremists,
laughed
yes.
about it.
Yes.
Yep.
The Jews.
There are extremist Jews who are attacking
No,
Christians,
No,
yes.
and I will
it's
agree
not
that there are
always.
good Israelis, but the problem is, unless those good Israelis want to have a civil war with the bad Israelis, they are all the same group.
They don't have to be extremists because it's in their book. They don't even say his name. They don't even say Jesus. They say JC. Jesus Christ. They say JC. They hate Christians.
I know.
Yeah, the Orthodox Jews disagree with Christianity because they're still waiting on their Messiah
You're
once
trying to split
Christianity
hairs. The
Messiah
Orthodox
comes.
Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, and the Zionist Jews all do not like Christianity.
Yes.
It's not the Orthodox
I
Jews reading
disagree.
out of the Talmud. Those would be the
I would disagree
Zionists
that
and the Ashkenazis.
I would disagree that they dislike Christianity, because there are proactive churches in Israel.
But how come they are
And
spitting on
you
Christians?
do have Muslims living in Israel, and they're living in harmony with the Jewish people. But
Why were we all living in
there are
harmony in the
I don't
1940s
believe
before
we are.
they introduced Ashkenazi Jews? Why was there peace in Palestine with the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims in Palestine before the English occupation decided to bring over about 5,000 Ashkenazi Jews that were not even of Middle Eastern descent? They were of European
They are
descent.
Middle Eastern descent.
And the reason they did that, and this is historical records, that the English government literally said, we don't want the Jews in our country, so let's give them somewhere else.
The Germans too.
Europe and England dispelled. England dispelled the Jews out of England in the 1500s, long before the foundation of the state of
That's
Israel.
what's starting to happen now with the world. That's why I'm saying that we need to be stricter with people that are coming through Mexico of Middle Eastern descent, not because we need to keep the Middle Easterns out, but because I believe that the Israelis are going to try to sneak in.
But there are.
if you fear that, why do you not fear the Islamic Muslims who are trying to do the same?
Because I know
The
for a
extreme.
fact that if I go to any fucking country in the world and I was starving, I
Mind your
would.
language.
Sorry.
Avoid.
If I go to any country in the world and I am starving and I go up to a person of Islamic descent, they will feed me. I won't get spit on because I'm a Christian. No, that's it's apples and oranges. You keep saying extremist Islam, but where is this extremist Islam? I know what you're going to bring up in America. What happened on the 11th
I
of
wasn't
September?
thinking of America, actually. I was thinking of Africa.
Let me
That's a
There is
correct
whole
you.
other ball
there is
game.
Let me
there are extremist Islamic groups in Africa that are deliberately targeting African Christians.
let me correct you. These Islamic extremists that you are talking about, they are not even Muslims. They are not even following the Quran, because
What are they following then?
nowhere in the Quran does it say to persecute or to kill any Christian because of their religion.
Well,
This
what
is
would
not.
they
There
refer?
are
What would the extremists view as infidels then?
me as a
That was
Muslim.
all
I
propaganda that
condemn
was made up.
You're Muslim,
me
okay.
as a Muslim. I condemn these extremist groups, but I know they are not Islamic. I condemn them.
So, as a Muslim, how would you describe? What would the word infidel mean to you?
I'm not a native
Because the
English
extremists
speaker.
would use infidel towards any other religion, any other nationality that wasn't of Islamic descent, or anybody that was
I don't know
against
what the word
Islam.
means. I'm not English. I don't know what the word means. Infidel.
I understand. I
Hold
understand
on,
your friend.
hold on. Let me answer because first and foremost, the word infidel got started because of Israelis. Israel has blatantly came out and said multiple times the only way you keep what they're doing away from the eyes of everyone is if they keep the Christians and Muslims fighting with each other. As long as they can keep us fighting with each other and fearful of each other, then they can keep world power, because their goal is to do all that stuff. Everything that people believe about Islamic extremists is true about the common variety Jew. If you read the Talmud, it gives them permission to SA girls over 3 years old. It's in their religious script. It's also in their religious script that during the times of war, they should be allowed to accept the evil in their heart and SA women that they captured. That's in their religious doctrine. This is Jewish religious doctrine. This is not like, oh, I'm talking about the extremists. No, this is in their main doctrine and their main laws.
Well, wouldn't you actually consider the Talmud a form of extremist viewpoint because of the way they want to treat people?
Okay, then let's take it one step further. Let's read it out of the Torah. The one about essaying women in times of war came out of Deuteronomy and the Torah. An active belief in the Jewish faith, because yes, Christians, we believe in the Old Testament, but we do not believe the Old Testament laws are applicable nowadays, because when Christ came here and was unalived, he unalived for all of us. That he put away all that dark age evil crap. Torah readers don't believe that. They believe it's still okay. Like everyone's saying, well, you can't be anti-Semitic. That's another con that they pulled. And about the 1920s or 30s, something like that. A gentleman came up with the term anti-Semitic, meaning it was people against Jewish faith. That's not even what it meant. Anti-Semitic means you're against the Semite people. How can Ashkenazi Jews, European descent Jews, be the Semite people? They're not the people. They're not Semitic. They're not Palestinian. They're not North African. They're not Jordanian. They're not They're not the races that make up the
Ashkenazi
Semite
Jews
people.
have Middle Eastern ancestry.
No, they do not. No,
However,
they do not.
yes,
No,
they
no,
do. They
no,
do.
no, they do not.
I've seen the breakdown their DNA research. They
You
can
are just
trace their
wrong.
ancestry back to 4 Middle Eastern
No,
women,
you're just
and
wrong.
yeah, it's only 4 because 300 years ago the Ashkenazi Jews were nearly massacred to non-existence, and they had to marry into European.
That is not the history of Ashkenazi Jews. The
Yes, it is.
Ashkenazi Jews got started because a group of Russians went to the Middle East, found Judaism, and came back and started spreading their BS religion. That is how it got started. They did. There was not no persecution, and they had to marry into these other races. On top of that, if you look at people like Netanyahu, did you know Netanyahu isn't even Israeli and doesn't speak Hebrew or Yiddish? He's Polish. His father was from Poland, and he was raised in America. Like, when you get on a subject of these people,
have Jewish ancestry, but I mean, because I've got Jewish ancestry, but I was lived and raised here in England.
Jewish
and therefore
religion is not a race. It's not a race.
I learned the English culture, and therefore I lost touch with any of my other ancestry because I am genetically mixed and I have North African ancestry. I've got Middle Eastern ancestry, but because it's so distant, I have no connection with that. So I can fully appreciate that a lot of Jewish descended people, they are living in a European culture, British culture, American culture, because
yes, but the reality is Judaism is not a race. You are not of the Jewish race. Because Hebrews and Israelites are gone. Those races disappeared Stone Ages. There's no DNA record. If you took a DNA test from a credible source, you would find out you are of Ashkenazi Jewish descent, and that literally means European Jewish descent. That's all it means. It does not connect you back to the Middle East or Israel. Your Middle Eastern descent is your other blood that you just stated you are part of. That is where that comes into play.
Well, my Ashkenazi ancestry can be traced back to the Iron Age. However, my partner, his family can be traced back to the Safari Jews, which is the other group of Jews who live across Europe and North Africa, and there's a genetic match. So they're not the Ashkenazi Jews are not the only Jewish DNA matches that they can have.
I did not say that. I'm saying that the people in Israel right now, for the most part, are of Ashkenazi descent. The vast majority of people that are calling themselves Jews or the Semitic people are of Ashkenazi descent, because people who are actually part of these Middle Eastern sects of Judaism are not out here being extremists. Like a group of Orthodox, because a group of Orthodox in Colombia was just arrested a few months back for essaying little girls. And they were part of a big trafficking ring bouncing from South America, Mexico, Canada. And it just blows my mind that people are still defending these people. Like the two biggest perverts in American history, Weinstein and Epstein, both of Jewish descent.
To be of Jewish descent, yes.
And it's in their doctrine, it's in their Talmud, it's in their Torah. It's not just in one religious book.
With Epstein, even though he was ethnically Jew, I can't see him being a practitioner of any religion at all, not even Judaism.
I'll give you that. He was a nasty idiot, and I read the stuff in the Epstein files. So yeah, I'm sure he wasn't a follower of any religion. But that doesn't change the fact that he was in the pocket of Israel, that he has private messages with Netanyahu and other leaders of Israel.
He had a lot of big ties with many celebrities.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that America isn't on the hook for it either, but America is not the world power we think we are. Like, Trump is finding that out right now when he's losing a battle against people he thought was inferior.
Explain to me how is he losing? Because I'm hearing conflicting reports.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you how he's losing. They literally painted helicopters and jets on the ground in paint, and we started bombing locations with paint. Like, he's trying to make a deal because no matter how much they bomb Iran, they're not reaching the places. Like, we in America, I'll just use America as an example. We have been made to believe Iran is this evil country, and I won't say that all their beliefs are correct. No, that's not true. But I'll tell you some things that make a lot of sense to me. I watched this video the other day where it stated that if a young girl is essayed by her father, she has to give birth to the child. I think that's wrong. But you know what happens to the father if he does that? He's unalived in the street. That makes sense to me. In Iran right
Where is
now,
this happening? Sorry.
huh?
Where is this happening? Sorry.
Iran. It states this video is stating that this stuff, if a girl is essayed in Iran, that she has to give birth to a child, which I again said I believe is wrong. But
Yeah.
then her father is unalived in the middle of the streets to let any other pervert know, if you do this, you'll be tortured and unalived. We were told that they were this evil entity, that they do all this stuff, but in reality, um, I, what is it? Iran. Okay, so Israel bombs a nuclear facility in Iran. Iran bombs a nuclear facility in Israel. Blah blah blah. Israel bombs a school. Iran doesn't. Like it's just plain and simple that the Israeli government, and I'm not saying Jews as a whole, because I do not have a beef with all Jews, but here is the true reality. If a Jew does not condone what's going on in Israel, if a Jew is not condoning Zionism, then they are part of the problem, because both of those things are wrong. The same people that were building up the Schnazi party in Germany also had another group building up Zionism. They all started about the same time in Germany. I have the book on Zionism too. I've read it. They believe that they are entitled to this place, and they are not. Even biblically, they are not. It was never promised to the Noah's son Shem. Shem is the one that went in and conquered the land of Canaan. It was never promised to him. It was promised to his brother Ham. So if we're going to quote the Bible like they try to quote the Bible when it's convenient for them, even though they only read out of the first 5 books of the Bible, then we need to quote it all. Because if you read the Bible and you read the Bible from an unbiased opinion, you start to see all these people, prophet, king, or otherwise, that are of Jewish descent in the Old Testament are evil mother effers. King David let his son molest his stepsister. King Solomon was a whoremonger. Like, it blows my mind that we are still stuck on this, but the reality is, if they want the anti-Semitic stuff to stop, then they need to stand up as a people and state, we condone Israel and what they're doing to the Palestinians. I've watched a bunch of videos recently where the Middle Eastern Jews and American Jews and European Jews are saying, give Israel back to Palestine. Give it back. What you guys did in 1948 was wrong. Give it back now. And those are the true Jews. Those are the true examples of Judaism. Not Zionists, not the Orthodox that like to spit on Christians, not the Orthodox that are trying to marry children, not that one rabbi from New York that got caught trying to marry a child and was dismembered in Colombia. No, dude, they got a whole weird pervert network under the city of New York. They just discovered it. They shined a light on everyone else and was trying to keep their dirt hidden. And now it's coming out and they're getting afraid. That's why Israel's paying people to post their bullshit. The post that, oh, supposedly a bunch of people were essayed on October 7th. No, that's never been true. That's never. I'm not condoning October 7th one bit, for the record. But Hamas does not have the history of SAing people like Israel. Those protesters that they picked up in the middle of the ocean were even saying, yeah, they're groping the women, they're touching us inappropriately, they're doing all this stuff, and they think it's okay. Their defense secretary over there is biting his tongue and mocking them like he's Baal. Like it's the weirdest thing in the world. You have people trying to beat the heads of dogs in on video. Like, what's made Israel mad is we live in a technology age, and all their bullshit lies have come to light. We have videos of what they're doing. We don't have that in any of these other conflicts. We have it when it comes to them because they're in the wrong. They are actively unaliving people that are rightfully the descendants of the people there. They are. It's never been the land of the Jews. It's never been the land of the Israelites. It's never been that. It's been the land that they kept trying to conquer because they wanted this land and not the land they were given. And that's all. That's if people believe in religion. And if you don't believe in religion, it's plain and simply one country trying to conquer another country for the dawn of time. Like it's absurd that we live in a world where we're allowing this, and Israel just keeps crying. Oh, well, we got put on the blacklist of the UN right next to Hamas. Well, quit doing it. Quit essaying women. Quit thinking it's okay. Quit telling people it's okay to essay Goyim girls. Like, and it's weird because, like, if you look up this stuff, you have to buy the books and you have to look this stuff up yourself. Because if you look it up on Google, they're filtering it. Well, we can't share this stuff, blah, 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 blah. It took me like 6 hours yesterday to find the law that states they are allowed to essay a girl as long as she is 3 years and 1 day old. It took me 6 hours yesterday to finally find it online because they are actively trying to hush up all this information that is in their scriptures. And whether this kind of stuff happened in the Old Testament is nor here nor there, because Christians and Catholics alike, we don't believe in that shit no more. We believe when Christ came here, he abolished all that crap. Like,
he did abolish it. However, there are still cases of child abuse still happening within Christianity, because you have corrupt leaders or religious leaders doing it. And with the Catholic Church alone, child abuse cases can be recorded right back up to the 1500s. So even though the Christianity is against it, there are still corrupt people in our religion that still abuse that. So taking that and applying it into Judaism and even Islam, do we then have to then take it as an individual basis and not blame the entirety of the religion, the entirety of the ethnic group or the group in general for these groups' actions? And we have to isolate the evil and then rip it out.
Already, I'm not saying that I'm blaming all people of the Jewish faith on this. I'm blaming them until they all stand up and state it's wrong. Me and my buddy talk about this all the time, that he really thinks I don't like Jews. I have a lot of Jewish friends. The reality is they would never let that kind of stuff happen. If they found out about it, the whole synagogue would be burning. Like, they wouldn't condone that in the slightest. And I will agree with you that now for the record, in the United States we have two types of Christianity. We have Protestant Christians and we have Catholic Christians. That stuff doesn't happen very often in Protestant Christians. It's the Catholic Church. And I'm not saying they are any better, but the reality is, as we've gotten newer and newer popes, that kind of stuff has stopped. That kind of stuff has stopped. And we finally have a pope now. And I love that we finally got an American pope, because this American pope, who is of Irish descent, that remembers the Irish potato famine, he is standing up and saying Christians and Muslims can now be friends. Christians and Muslims, the holy war is over, because he is seeing what Zionism's doing. It's not a war against the Jews, it's the war against Zionism. But the problem is, too many Jews believe that they are Zionists because they believe that they are the chosen people, and they are not. That's not even biblical. They're not, because the Israelites were. And no one alive nowadays has a drop of blood from the Israelites. Not one person.
Is that due to the fact that there's been so much intermixing with other cultures that's led to the Israelite DNA being wiped out?
Yes, and the conquering of the Israelites because of the evil that they were doing. Like, I had a conversation with the Israeli gentleman the other day that was pro giving back Israel to the Palestinians, and he agreed with something. Did you know there is no Star of David? David never had a star. You know who did have a star? Moloch. There's a star of Moloch, but there isn't a Star of David.
That has actually been disputed, because there is, if you look at some of the illustrations of Melchizedek, sorry if I got his name wrong, the king priest, some of the imagery
Melchizedek?
of Melchizedek, yeah. There is some depictions of him having a star imagery in the temple. So even though it wasn't called the Star of David back then, the star wasn't alone just related to old polytheist religions. That's
the problem. Is we are
pentagram. It was a multi-used symbol.
Well, yeah, and we can go even further and even bring in that symbol that the Mustache Man liked so much. They all had different symbols to different groups of people, but the reality is, when you start doing research, because I'm actually, due to me becoming a religious historian and going to school for that, I've decided I was going to write a book on a lot of the histories of religions, because we're not even spreading the correct information anymore. Here's some crazy things I learned about Christianity very recently. So before Shem went into the land of Ham and tried to conquer the land of Canaan, did you know the Canaanites only believed in one God, and they called what we call Yahweh or Jehovah, whatever we want to call him as a Christian, called him El. That was the only God they believed in. And it wasn't until Shem's groups of supposed, now I'm using that term because I don't believe that they were Israelites at that point. I don't even believe they were Jews at that point. I believe they were a group.
The Israelites became Israelites after
Moses.
Jacob was called Israel.
Well, yeah,
that was where the Israelites came from.
Yeah, that's where that term comes from. But before that, their ancestors, they didn't believe in that stuff. And most of the people with Moses didn't believe in that stuff. And that's where we get into the big problem, that we have convinced ourselves that these people, and when I say these people, I mean Israel, not the Jews, are the chosen people. They are not. They have never been the chosen people. They were the people that tried to conquer chosen people. They are the ones that did that, because when they were attacking the land of Canaan, originally, we're talking before Moses, it was right after Noah. When they started doing that, they were the ones that introduced polytheistic religions. They were the ones that brought in Moloch and Baal and Tiamat and other ones like that. They are the ones that created countries like Babylon and these really dark, evil Moab. These are those people. Like, so for Moses to free all the Israelites and free all of them, It's a farce because these books. One, my favorite little tidbit about the Torah. Did you know the Torah in its entirety was burned? Every single copy of the Torah at one time was burned. So the Torah we have nowadays, the first 5 books of the Bible, doesn't matter if we're Christian, Jew, whatever, is not the original text. So all we have in regards to the Torah is what a group of Jews claimed it originally said. And I don't buy that for a hot second, because it was... Go ahead, sorry.
A lot of what survived, a lot of the translations that we have come from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
And I'll agree with you on that, but here's the reality. I recently have started getting into reading the older Bibles. I have a Wycliffe Bible coming, and I have a Geneva Bible coming. And I've already had the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible, but the reality is a lot of what is in our Bible now, especially the part of the Torah, isn't even in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls fills in a lot of blanks for the other parts of the Old Testament, but the Dead Sea Scrolls do not touch very much on Genesis to Deuteronomy. And that is the part that these Israelis and Jews alike are trying to use as their way of justifying what they're doing, that it's okay. Because see, here's the problem. You go online, you watch these videos. I follow this one Palestinian gentleman that doesn't live in Palestine anymore. He goes on one of those little, video chat BS things where you can randomly talk to people. And every time he gets a Jew from Israel, they wish unaliving on him. They celebrate. They laugh. They say, "Oh, I hope they unalive everyone in Gaza." That is what the vast majority of Jews in Israel feel. So it's not me being anti-Semitic to point out that what they're doing is wrong. It's the world now shining a light that it's not acceptable. Dude, Israelis can't come into 90 countries in the world now because they're doing weird, dumb shit. A group of them got caught burning down a section of jungle in Venezuela or Argentina the other day. If I became a Jew and I essayed a child, I could run to Israel and they would never deport me. That's not right. There's nothing right about that. And that's not saying, oh, it's the extremists that are that way. No, that's Israeli law. They will protect a Jew no matter if he's an evil person before anything else.
Okay, so if they are preventing Israeli people from going to other countries based on those crimes, why aren't they doing the same for anybody else from any other Middle Eastern country or European country committing the same crimes from traveling to and fro?
Because you can pick any other country, you can pick any other religion, and it's not as extreme. It is not as extreme. The Mexican president, who is a Jew, has finally came out and condoned what's going on in Israel. She's all no. It's blatantly a genocide. Like there is no other way to look at it.
How long has he been in power?
She has been in power for about 2 years now, and she will stay in power because one, she has put people in her little group that won't ever turn on her. Dude, she just took out one of the largest cartel leaders and did it with tact. She's very well educated, and she is changing the way the world looks at Mexico now. Like, I'll tell you right now, I live in California, so we in California know about Mexico's corruption. We've all seen it. We've all seen how our CIA works with the cartel and the government over there to do dumb shit. But the reality is now, she's not putting up with it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
No, it's fine. No.
Like, the reality is right now, they are doing a campaign because they can see themselves losing Israel. They can see that now. That all their lies, all their BS It's all falling. And I think it's weird because you look at places like Germany, because my grandpa on my dad's side was of German descent. He came here during World War I, fought against the mustache men during World War II. Mm-hmm. And Germany is so afraid to get compared to the Schnazis again that they're like, oh, no. We won't say anything anti-Semitic. No. What they are doing right now in Israel is the same stuff the Schnazis did to them. It's the exact same thing. It is literally as if all the Ashkenazi Jews learned is to be just like them. Just like them. And they're not worried about it. They think it's okay. It's okay to unalive as many Muslims and Christians as you can. It's in their doctrine. That's what I've been sharing a lot of. Is we live in a world where, I don't know, I guess the world just got soft. Because I'm going to tell you right now, some a politician did some bad shit to a kid in Texas, and I posted a video and I said, dude, Texas ain't shit unless they do something about this now. Like, it's wild. He got 60 days in jail for SAing a kid for 3 years from 8 to 10.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and he's free because he was a politician, because he was a MAGA, because he was a Trumper. Just like all these YT nationalists are pro-Trump because they thought, Trump was a prejudiced guy. But Trump is deeply...
I'm going to be honest with you. There are evil politicians on both sides of the political spectrum, regardless of which country it is. And
I agree.
From the centrist point of view, both sides need to deal with them properly.
I agree. But like
even though that you say that the Republicans are protecting their own, I say it's the same happening with Democrats. They are at this present moment they are protecting their own. Like Biden, he protected his son.
And I agree, but here's the problem with Biden and his son. And I'm gonna say this: Biden's son was a drug addict.
Yes.
That's all he was. He was not on the Epstein files. He was not SAing children. He was a drug addict. That's apples and oranges. That it trips me out because I know you're not from here, so I'm not going to call you a Trumper. But that's the first thing Trumpers go after. Well, he pardoned Hunter Biden, and he was a drug addict. If you don't think for a hot second, the very moment Trump's about to get out of office this time, he's going to try to pardon all those people on the Epstein files, he is. He's 100% going to try to pardon them all. But here's the problem. It doesn't make it legal. It does not make it legal because you have to be convicted to have a pardon. Like if someone wanted to go after Hunter Biden right now for the supposed treason or the drugs, they could. Because a pardon has to be you were convicted in the United States. And most people don't grasp that aspect of it. So when that day of reckoning comes, because I'm going to be real, and it may sound extremist coming out of my mouth, but I am going to absolutely start a revolt if the Democratic Party doesn't start arresting everyone on the Epstein list. Because if you go through the Epstein list, you will find out that in America, I'm not saying about the rest of the world, I know there's evil on both sides of the spectrum in every country, there aren't as many Democrats on the Epstein list from America. They're not. The Clintons are the only ones that I remember offhand that were on the list. You don't see.
I can't remember who though.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, like, dude, we all knew Bill Clinton was a weirdo. Dude, he was having meetings, getting blowies from his secretary. Like, the dude's always been a weirdo. We all knew that. It wasn't no big shock that he was on the list, especially after them going in front of Congress and talking. That shit was funny as hell. You could tell they were both there because they were sure mad that they kept getting quizzed about that. But dude, we have Steve Bannon stating if we lose the midterm election, they will kick us out of office, and several of us, myself included, will be arrested. What did he do that he knows he's going to be arrested? They know it. They know they're going to get arrested. It's because, and I'm going to say right now, for the record, both sides, both Republican and Democrat, can potentially be perverts. Where the Republican Party, where the Republican Party is a bigger evil right now, is they're a fascist group that is trying to take away the media, trying to take away freedom of speech, trying to impose fascist beliefs on a country that has always fought against fascism. Dude, we've never been okay with it. Like, they tried to pull this crap in the 1920s or 30s with the Schnazi party, and it didn't work out very well for them. Like, the reality is, Americans and all Western societies, going all the way across Europe, all the way over to Russia, Southeast Asia, South America, Australia, we all need to unify and stop Zionism. AIPAC right now is trying to buy up everybody's politicians. We have a politician right now in California that, because of people like me shining a light on how much money they've accepted from this Jewish company, let me rephrase that, Israeli company, he's going to end up losing office this year. And his name's Jim Costa. He's accepted millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. They're hoping they get this lady of Jewish descent as the treasurer so they keep the power. They're not. They're not, because the world has seen what's going on. And after we're done kicking Israel out of most countries, arresting the pervert Republicans and Democrats in the United States and elsewhere in the world, then we're going to go after the next group of evil beings. It's not going to end here. It's just, we as a society have finally found out how bad it's gotten, because we all thought the world wasn't that evil. It wasn't that evil. Like, dude, we in America, I don't know if you go on a lot of American TikTok, a lot of us are like saying, dude, if the Democrats don't do something, we're revolting. We're revolting. They don't have a choice. If they don't start arresting the people on the Epstein list, if they do not release all the files, if they do not track down all these people like we still do Schnazis, then there's gonna be a revolution. And they don't like hearing that. And the reason they don't like hearing that is because that's when they find out, oh, you don't really have that much power. We 300 million Americans have the power. Because, dude, I walk around all over my town. I live in California, and everybody thinks we're all very democratic and liberal, but I'm from a very Republican and conservative county. I walk around with a shirt that says F Trump and F you too if you voted for him. Like, we're fighting back. We're not tolerating this crap. Like, even the Republicans in our state are like against ICE. My mayor right now literally told the police if they help ICE, they will be arrested. Like, he's not stopping ICE, and I wish he would do something more in that aspect, but he's making sure no one else supports them. But I as a regular white and Native American citizen have had a pew pew put in my face by ICE, and they asked me if I wanted to be the next one. That is what ICE is doing right now. And as I stated, I'm more concerned about Israel than I am any Middle Eastern country, because they are the real threat to democracy. They are the real threat to everything. Did you know they're waiting on, they don't believe Jesus is the Messiah, so they're waiting on their Messiah, which is kind of weird to me. Yeah, but it's kind of weird to me, and I found this out the other day. So the Jews are waiting on their Messiah, and the Muslims and Christians believe Jesus was the Messiah, because Jesus in the Quran is called Isa, and they considered him the Messiah. And we, Christians and Muslims, are waiting on the Antichrist, but the Jews are waiting on their Christ. That's weird. It's almost like this whole religion, and I'm not saying the whole, let me rephrase that. I did say the whole religion. I'm not saying it's all of them, because I do believe Judaism is a beautiful religion if you peel away all the evildoers. But the problem is, where do you distinguish the difference now? Like I said in the beginning of this, if we are not as a group condoning what they're doing, then they're part of the problem. You look at the Jewish president of Mexico, she condoned it. And I'm a big supporter of hers now. You look at these Jewish celebrities that have had enough. Seth Rogen, he's all like, no. I was always taught we were the chosen people until I did a little bit more research. Yeah, no, it's evil. What they are doing is plain and simply evil, and they have gotten away with it for so long. They think they will get away with it forever, and they're not. No one, and I mean no one, is tolerating it anymore. And they're getting madder and madder because, like, Europe right now is talking about whether or not to just pull all funding from them. The European Union is considering just pulling all funding and support. And then they'll be alone. Dude, these fools don't even know how to farm over there. So what exactly would they do if they lose the support of the world? You look at most of these American Jewish neighborhoods. If there wasn't a welfare system, they wouldn't be able to make it. One of the poorest towns in all of America at one time was a Jewish neighborhood that, until they made government assistance, wasn't making it. Like, I'm not saying that they're all bad, but the reality is, until all of them start standing up, then where do we differentiate between the Zionist and a truly godly Jew? Especially if they're saying crazy crap like, oh, we are the chosen people, so you have to love us. No, we don't.
Don't Christians say that though?
And I'll say Christian Zionists do, but a real Christian shouldn't.
No. Christians say we are the chosen people. We are the true followers.
Oh, you're saying Christians believe that they are the true followers of God?
I mean, yeah. Christians,
well, yeah, that essentially is everyone's faith, but the reality is we're not going around and conquering everyone. This is 2026.
Are you saying that the Jews are going around conquering everyone? I mean, I came in mid-tirade, and I'm very confused by what you're saying, because what I came into sounds a whole lot like anti-Semitism. So,
it's only anti-Semitic if I'm talking about people of the Semite descent. I'm talking about Ashkenazi Jews. They're not the Semitic people.
What is your point here?
Targeting one group of people.
My point is that the Israeli and Zionists are a real problem to freedom across the spectrum. Why? They are a real threat to democracy everywhere because they are continuously trying to keep Christians and Muslims at odds. They are continuously trying to monsterize Muslims, so we are concerned about what they're doing and not concerned about what they're doing, because the UN literally just put the Israeli army on the blacklist because they are essaying little girls and women.
I'm sorry, that's a problem for everybody.
I understand that, but not to people that read the Torah or the Talmud. Hold on, the middle of my sentence is not the beginning of yours. The Talmud literally explicitly gives them permission to SA any girl 3 years and 1 day old or older. Their religious scripts teach that it's okay.
You're talking about Jews?
Yeah.
Muslims, because Muslims.
No, I'm talking about Jews. Muslims don't believe in that stuff, and you will not find one verse in the Quran that states it's okay to SA non-Muslims.
Muhammad's youngest wife was 9.
Oxford College disproved that years ago. I don't know why people keep tripping on that.
That's not true.
That is 100% true. You can look it up. But if we're gonna go down that route, how old was Mary when she got pregnant?
Nobody knows.
No, we know. It's actually in books that the Catholic Church kept out. She was between 12 and 13 years old. Yeah, no, read your Bible a little bit more. Do a little bit deeper research.
Show me where in the Bible.
It's not in our Bible. It's in one of the books
You
kept out of the
just said.
Bible.
You
It's
just
one
said
of
I
the
need to read
books.
my
I
Bible
said
more.
it was one of
No,
the books
you
that was
just
kept
said-
out of
no,
the
no, no.
Bible by the Catholic
And-
Church.
But then you said that I need to read my Bible more. So where is it in the Bible?
In older version of the Bible. It's in a Geneva Bible and it's an Ethiopian Bible.
It's not
Read it
in-
out of
it's
those
not in the
Bibles.
Geneva
Yes,
Bible.
it
It
is.
is not.
Yes, it is. I
not.
just got a copy of the Geneva Bible, bro. You're wrong.
I have the Geneva Bible.
Okay, it's in the what is it? Epistles of James. It's in there.
Show me.
I'm not gonna show you Jack, bro. You're
Show
just
me.
a Zionist
You
trying
made
to
the
get my goat. I don't care.
No, you made the claim. Back up your claim.
I'm not looking it up for you, bro. Look it up yourself. I'm not your teacher.
You made the claim.
You go ahead and
the
do your
claim.
own damn homework there, bud.
You made the claim.
You go
Back
ahead
up
and do
claim.
your own. Okay? Show me proof in the Quran that she was 3 years old, or 6 years old, or whatever bullshit that non-Muslims try to say. Go ahead.
I have read some apocryphal texts that go on to, I think it's the birth of Mary, where it actually goes into detail about her being prepared for marriage as potentially young, between 14 and 16. And
It actually specifically states she's 12. I know the apocrypha text you're talking about. It literally says 12. And it talks about how she is being ready for marriage, and that a widower, Joseph.
Yeah, because in the bar mitzvah with the young men, the boy from the age of 13 would be symbolically called a young adult because he would be old enough to take on responsibilities. But they would have been, the Jewish men would have been prepared for
Hey,
marriage between 16 to 21.
if you don't believe there's a Zionist agenda, look in your comments right now. You got a whole bunch of them in your comments right now trying to say free Israel as if they weren't created in 1948. Hey, buddy, middle of my sentence isn't the beginning of yours there, bud. I'm going to keep talking over you until you decide to quit talking, because the middle of my sentence is not the beginning of yours. Go ahead and quit talking now. Go ahead and quit talking. I'm not going to let you talk over me, buddy. I don't care who you think you are, you Zionist Christian. I'm not going to let you talk over me. You done?
One at a time.
So the Hadiths, which is the saying of the prophets, mentions how old Aisha was.
Yeah, that's one of the weaker hadiths, bro. And if it's not a hadith, the hadith is not in the Quran. I said look it up in the Quran, not a hadith. I said look it up in the Quran, not a hadith.
Hang on.
It's not in the hadith.
That is not what you said.
Yes, I did. I literally said show me in the Quran. I literally said show me in the Quran. 100%. Now you're trying to.
Translation. There is no translation.
Go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
There is no translation of any translation of the Bible that mentions how old Mary was.
100%. The literal person doing this live has confirmed she read it out of an apocryphal text. You're just wrong again.
Text doesn't necessarily mean it's canonized, because we don't know if it was actually written and taken out of the Bible.
Well, we do have records of it being taken out of the Bible. Literally, that was one of the books that the Catholic Church kept out.
Sorry, I've got something in my eye, sorry.
Yeah, no, the apocryphal text, apocrypha literally means secret text. It means texts that were purposely kept secret.
It also refers to texts that we cannot confirm whether or not they were canonized before the removal, because there were many falsified accounts. So it was an interesting read, because it gave a different perspective of Mary and Mary's parents.
Danny, don't say exactly when you try to use a hadith and not the Quran. Bro, and then you tried to say, I didn't say the Quran when I did. I remember what I said.
She she measured the Talmud, and because the Talmud is accepted by the Jewish faith, the Hadith is accepted by the Muslim faith.
No.
And
Not
some
all hadith,
apocryphal
not all
texts,
hadith are created equal, and the one he's quoting is not.
And some apocryphal texts are accepted by some Christian sects. So you're mentioning a bunch of texts from a bunch of different religions that aren't the primary texts of any one of those religions, and then you're picking and choosing what applies and what doesn't.
The Geneva Bible is Orthodox Christians. Did you know that?
The Geneva Bible does not mention the age of Mary.
Yes, it does.
It does not.
It's in the Apocrypha text that she was just talking about with me.
Which is not in the Geneva Bible.
You're just wrong, bro. You're just wrong.
It took me 5 seconds to figure out if it's in the Geneva Bible.
That's cool. Hold on. I'll find it for you.
Go ahead. In the Geneva Bible. So anyway, then he complains about the Hadith, which is widely accepted by Muslims.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And then he throws a fit about it. I don't even know what his point was about the Jews. I came in here and I'm like, whoa, that is some strong language.
We were talking about other things. Originally, he came up to talk about his position on ICE and what he thought of it, and what he thinks should be done instead of using ICE. And he was talking about what Obama was doing to deal with deportations. That's how it started, and then it went on to his views about how he's anti-Zionist, he's anti-Israeli, or Israeli Zionism. So we're just talking about that, really. And so that's why you came up. So that's why we were talking about it at the time.
Didn't Obama have more deportations than Trump?
Yes, he did. That's why I wanted to find out what Obama did. So, if people were disagreeing with ICE, what did Obama do that actually worked, where ICE is failing? Because I just want to get the different perspectives. Because I always hear, I'm with ICE, I'm anti-ICE, but I've heard nobody explain why. So that's why I brought him up.
It's in a book called The Infancy Gospel of James, and it is a book inside of the Bible for Eastern Christian Orthodox and Eastern Catholics.
That does not sound like the Geneva Bible to me. It sounds like you just found a Bible that the Eastern Orthodox use.
No, I just literally told you a minute ago that's the book they read out of, the Geneva Bible. I'm sorry if you keep mishearing me. You also thought I didn't say the Quran. I didn't say the Quran and pulled a hadith out of your ass.
The hadith is
because for the record, Muslims don't believe all hadiths. They believe in some hadiths. They only believe in the hadiths literally made by Muhammad, not just any idiot doing it. You're just wrong.
There are sects of every religion that pick and choose.
And I'm not saying they're not, but a true Muslim doesn't believe that. The vast majority of the Muslims.
We pull out of Corinthians a verse that talks about baptisms for the dead, and yet other Christian faiths don't utilize baptisms for the dead because they choose to not believe it.
Well, actually, you're wrong about that because the Mormons believe that.
That's why I just said that we use it.
Funny enough,
you a Mormon?
You are talking to LDS members.
Are you really? That is hilarious. I've never met a British LDS members.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's sort of cool. I ain't even gonna knock you for that, even though I don't like Mormons. That's pretty cool that I've never had a chance to meet them because I know that.
It's why I keep my political lives and religious lives separate, so I can talk about other stuff with other people without getting bombarded with "you're not Christian."
My thing, honestly, is my biggest thing online is like I am talking about a specific aspect of a religion, but I'm not out here preaching against any religion. And the reason I don't do that is all of our religions. Hold on, bro. Stop.
We're preaching against Judaism.
No, I did not preach against it. I preached against Zionist Judaism. I said if they want to start condoning all these dark stuff in their religious books.
You were saying it was a problem that Jews don't believe that or that they're still waiting on their Messiah.
Yeah, they do believe that. That's factual.
Yeah, but you were saying
factual. And I didn't say it was a problem. I said I find it interesting. That's not the same thing. I said I found it interesting that we believe that the Antichrist. We're waiting on the Antichrist.
I literally requested up because you said that it was a problem.
No, I never said that. You're just wrong. Again, I didn't state that. I said I found it interesting that they believe they are waiting on their Messiah and we're waiting on the Antichrist.
Yeah, and you said that it was a problem. That's why I requested up.
Again, no, I didn't. But I'm not preaching out against Judaism, and I apologize for the record if it came off that way, because I repeatedly said it isn't all the Jews, but it is a problem, and I'll say I said it that time, bud, when all the Jews are not coming out and condoning these verses in Judeo law, in the Talmud, in the Torah. These do. As Mormons, you guys know we don't practice Levitical law anymore or Deuteronomy law. Jesus unalived for us not to have to do that kind of stuff anymore. He was the final sacrifice.
Jesus said that he fulfilled the law, but he wasn't abolishing the law.
Okay, so do you obey all the Levitical law?
The Levitical law is still practiced by the high priest, including in our church.
No way. You got to reread the Leviticus. There's no way.
We do have Levites in our church.
Okay, but like for instance, do you only wear one type of clothing? When you wear you don't wear denim and cotton because it literally states in Levitical law. Hold on.
Originally made in cloth, in cotton, and then due to the allergy of cotton, they started to expand to other materials.
Well, yeah, but that's temple garments. I'm talking about clothing. We're not supposed to wear two types of clothing at the same time, according to Levitical law.
But why are you having a problem
for the priesthood?
Why are you having a problem with them doing that if that is their belief? If they don't believe that the law has been fulfilled and they're still living by the law that they feel that they're supposed to be living by, why do you care?
What are we talking about? What I just said about the clothing, or are we talking about something else?
We're talking about the Jews.
You mentioned that we're
no. I am okay. I just want to make sure where I was before I went on a tirade again.
You mentioned that we're not living under the Mosaic law, but if Jews feel that we're still living under the Mosaic law, that like there are only very, very small groups that are doing like things like animal sacrifice, but otherwise, I mean, why do you care?
Do you think I'm here talking about animal sacrifice, bud? I'm not. I'm over here talking about essaying children that as long as they're 3 and 1 day old, they're allowed to do that. That's in the Talmud.
And what groups are doing that?
The predominantly Orthodox Jews and the Zionist Jews, which is the vast majority of Israeli Jews over there.
And you have proof that they're doing this on a regular basis?
The UN does, enough that they just put them on a blacklist right next to Hamas.
That's not what I asked. Where is the proof? Where have you?
You missed the whole first half of this conversation. Okay, let's go through it again. Two biggest perverts in the United States history: Epstein, Weinstein, both of Jewish descent. The 10 Orthodox Jews that were arrested in Colombia that were marrying children.
Wait a second. We all speak out against Epstein, and he's dead anyway.
If you believe that.
What you said was you were talking about Israeli Jews.
Israel was AI.
Epstein was not an Israeli Jew. So
I'm going to tell you, I wasn't referencing the image of him in Israel. I'm referencing a guy named Palm Beach Pete that looks literally like him.
He looks
again.
He looks similar, but he's not Epstein.
Again,
if he's not Epstein, then tell him to do a DNA test. I want proof.
Again. So now you're just a conspiracy theorist. Okay. But you were talking about how the UN was condemning Israeli Jews. So show me the evidence that the UN has.
Why would I do that?
Because you claim that they have evidence. So where's the evidence?
I don't know. Go on the UN website and look.
No. You made a claim. You made a claim.
You're an idiot. You're just a full-blown idiot. I'm not gonna play this game with you anymore. I'm not gonna play this game with you no more, bro. You're not even a Jew, bro, but you're unaliving on the hill for Judaism.
That's right.
They're not the chosen people.
I'm going to defend
according
people who
to
aren't
your
here defending
faith.
themselves.
You guys are the chosen people.
A bigot.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
2 days ago, UN adds Israel to blacklist for conflict relating to sexual offences.
Yes.
Sexual violence. That was 2 days ago.
Yes, I did. I also shared what it teaches in the Talmud and the Torah yesterday. So, like, this gentleman is losing his ever-loving mind that I quoted stuff out of the Talmud, that I quoted stuff out of Jewish texts, both of them, not one, both of them, the Talmud and the Torah, where it gives him permission to essay women. And he would rather defend them than defend children and women. That's
right.
Cool.
I'm going to defend the Jews.
Do it. That's what I love hearing people that are part of a different religion, but they believe they're the chosen people. Like, that's so weird to me. If they're the chosen people, if they're the chosen people, why don't you join Judaism?
Should I call them in here? Should I call my Jewish friends in here and ask them if that's what they practice?
I wish you would.
You can invite them in if you want. I didn't mean for this religious debate.
I mean, he's just kind of calling out different claims. He sounds like he's just an audible Mein Kampf, but that's okay.
You're an idiot. I spoke out against fascism first there, dummy. That the Israeli Jews have only learned to be fascists. Nah, bro, you ain't gonna Mein Kampf me. My family came to America during World War I and fought against the Mustache Man during World War II. You can kiss my ass.
We have all ancestors that did that. Oh, okay.
I mean, I was just gonna ask him to put up his right arm at an angle and swear that Jews are so bad, but I'm sure he would have done that.
Yeah, my argument against his anti-Zionist views was that if he sees the extremists in Zionism and extremists in Israel doing that, we need to see all extremists and treat them the same way, because they are bad representatives of their religion, their culture, and we have bad apples in Christianity as well, and they all need to be treated the same way because they are not representing their religion or representing their culture.
Yeah, exactly. If we're going to do that, then we might as well label every Christian as a what's it called? The Southern Baptist Convention or whatever it's called?
Sorry?
Like, if we're going to do that to the Jews, we might as well label every Christian as part of the Southern Baptist. I can't think of what it's called. You know what I mean? Like the extremists that go and, like, they'll do protests at funerals.
Oh, West Barrow.
Thank you. West Baptist Church.
Well, yeah, that's the one. They were dreadful. Hi, Darko. Yeah, Chloe. Are you talking about how to deal with illegal criminals, or just illegal immigration completely? Because we already have that in place with legal migration. A lot of legal migrants come in with their documentation, providing ID of who they are, where they've come from. Did you see in Ireland how many Muslims were in danger because of white people? That will probably be the what do you call it? The IRA doing that.
Yeah, it's the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we're gonna label Jews the way that he was, we might as well
look
label
into that,
every
Chloe.
that way.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. The thing that Cody, I was trying to say to Cody, was that I looked up the what he was saying was happening in Mexico with the cartels, and there were cartels using Israeli weapons from as early as 2006. That's the earliest record that they have. So I was looking into that, but obviously he left before I could talk to him about it. So yeah, he wasn't lying about that, but I have to actually look into the reason why they actually had access to it. Yeah, that is something else that is happening. That's not being talked about. Oh, sorry, Soda. Yes, you can come up. Oh, he's gone. Oh.
Okay, so this is interesting. I was just looking up what he was saying about the UN blacklisting. One, it didn't have to do with Israel, like the Israeli people. It had to do with the military forces as a form of torture. So that's a totally separate thing. Two, Israel is denying it, and they're the ones that severed ties with the UN. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he's just saying, oh, well, this is a proven thing, and yet Israel is saying, yeah, that's not the case. You're making crap up. Yeah, so... Oh, good grief.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing, if possible, is crime checking or punishable post-crime. Yeah, that's what we're trying to push the government to actually acknowledge. But if you have that conversation, you get called racist, fascist, when what you've just proposed is a very moderate view and a sensible view. Why can't you support Israel? Oh, there was a guy I was speaking to on Walk the Face Live a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about Christian Zionism, and he was bringing up wars that had nothing to do with Zionism. Like, he was bringing up the Crusades, and I had to correct him and say the Crusades predate Zionism by hundreds of years. What he was
Dude, that's crazy. That must have been one heck of a conversation.
It was very strange because I actually had to explain that the First Crusade occurred because of the Islamic occupation of Europe, because back then Muslims did conquer, and they conquered North Africa, they conquered the majority of Europe and the European islands, and the Europeans, the British, they pushed back and said, we do not want to convert to Islam. We do not want to embrace the Islamic way of being. So the Crusades were started to push them back. And I had to point out that the Second and Third Crusades, where a lot of the crimes the Templars were accused of, was very different reasons, but similar. With the reason why the war started was very similar, but it had nothing to do with Zionism, because Zionism didn't come into. It wasn't a twinkle in the Jewish eye, let's say, until the late 1800s. And then it became what it is today because of the false allegations against a French national called Dreyfus, who was falsely accused of espionage for the enemy, and he was put into trials. And the French Jewish community, they got together and actually exonerated him, and that's why Zionism became such a force. And so I would say the modern Zionism is different, because the values that they have now is different to what they did in Europe and what was happening back then. But Zionism took hold because it wasn't just about wanting to return to their ancestral homeland, which is what the main reason for it was. It was so they could protect Jewish people from being falsely accused of crime and assaulted. And I was actually looking up a case yesterday with Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of Sherlock Holmes. He actually exonerated a Jewish German who was living in Scotland in the early 1900s because he had been falsely accused of unaliving a woman, simply because he was a immigrant or migrant, and he wasn't living the lifestyle of a traditional Christian. So they literally falsely imprisoned him based on prejudice. And it was, and I think it wasn't his case, but it was another case that actually got the Criminal Court Case Appeal Act in, and Arthur Conan Doyle actually got that push for it. Okay, sorry, Dark. I don't support Palestine. No, I don't support Palestine as in the Hamas. I don't support the Islamic regime that runs Palestine, because they abuse their own people. And very recently, I mean, you have the LGBTQ plus community supporting Palestine, supporting Hamas, and protesting for their freedom. But when they go over there, we've recently had unalivings of gay men and women, because they've gone over to Palestine to support them, and Hamas go, you're going against our religion. We do not support homosexuality. You are an abomination, and they've unalived them. Yet when you go to Israel, when homosexual people go to Israel, they've got gay clubs over there. Transgender men and women have gone over there with passports and have actually gone through safely and not been attacked. Capitalism did exist, but it was called feudalism. A lot of the issues that we have with capitalism is the feudalistic system that was in place, because capitalism is how someone earns their money, feudalism is how it's distributed, and is the feudalist view. It's a feudalistic system that is actually the problem with capitalism, because there are people who are receiving how they are receiving monies is disproportionate to how it should be shared out. So it's not capitalism you have an issue with, and I debunk myself from this view myself. It's not capitalism people have an issue with, it's feudalist. It's the feudalistic pyramid scheme that is in capitalism. And because it's the pyramid scheme that you hear about is based on the feudalist system, is still in place. Also, bye Danny. Also, because of UK and US dumping survivors in countries we had no business doing so after the Second World War. You'll probably find elements of feudalism still exist in America because prior to the Declaration of Independence, America was under monarch rule, especially in South America. The pyramid system is still used, it's just not the same. So it's the remnants of feudalism that people have an issue with. It's like when you work for Avon, they work under a pyramid system, and that is where if you get somebody to order something from you, the person who hired you gets the commission, and you don't get much from it, and that is the feudalistic system in place in modern day. Oh yes, there's definitely still a class system. Yes, feudalism began with the monarchy, but the actual system that the monarchs used is still being used today. And there's still remnants of it in the American system. It's just called something else. But if you actually look into capitalism, there are elements of it. It's not fully there, but there's still remnants of it. It's over here as well. You see remnants of it. That's why there is still a class system. With the modern class system, this happened in 2000s, I believe, but there is a new name for the class system for those on benefits. So they would be people on benefits are part of the working class identity, but we're called the underclass because a lot of people on benefits aren't able to work. And obviously I know there are some people who are on benefits who are lazy and abuse the system, and I've actually spoken to people in the DWP who actually told me this stuff, but not all of them are like that. I probably am, but I'm just comparing the two systems, and no, there is elements of feudalism in the American system, but it's not as much as the UK or Europe, but there's still remnants of it there. Yes, yeah, my partner's the same. Yeah, I personally think all governments should be doing more. I mean, I don't like being on benefits. I really want to get off it because I do not like being dependent on the government, and I'm sure the majority, most people on benefits don't want to rely on benefits, but a lot of people do not have. Oh, why do you disagree? I've got to go in about 15 minutes because I need to do dinner. How are they terrorizing people? How would you suggest clearing up the prisons? Because I disagree with how Labour are currently doing it. They are releasing Class A criminals in order to create space, and I disagree with that. So how would you suggest it should happen? Hello.
Hi.
You're right.
Yeah. So, okay. We clear up prison space by decriminalizing drugs. That's not legalizing it. That's not making it on the streets. That's getting addicts who are being arrested and put in prison and receiving no help with recovery. And all the prisons in the UK up and down are rife with addicts. Doctors turn people away when they say, "Oh, look, I want to get help getting cleaned," etc., etc., etc. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if England have any, but Scotland have these drop-in centres where you can actually go and get your stuff tested before you use it.
We do.
And
yeah, we do.
it doesn't eradicate RIPs. Don't get me wrong. It's not 100% safe, but it has stopped a lot of deaths happening, which is a good thing. We decriminalise, we clear up prison spaces, we fund the NHS better by, yes, we still needed like army and defence, I get that, that's why I'm putting money into war still counts, like we do need a defence system, but rather than putting money into other countries' weapons and providing them a lot of money, put our money back into our roads, our schools, our hospitals. Okay, there's like a rhetoric on these racist posts, oh, engineer, doctor, but actually the vast majority of our doctors and surgeons are from other countries. Okay, we've put that money back into education where actual people are coming back over. Since the Second World War, we have been multicultural. We've had a lot of Indians, Polish, Latvians living in the UK.
Yep.
And they could be more funded for more education. Okay, our NHS is slightly better. Our addicts are getting help. Our prisons are slightly clearer. Okay, with that money, we can now put it into, as you said, like the offices. You don't want to come across as being called racist for wanting these centres, which, check if there's safe people coming over. But that would then clear up the prison space to put these criminals that are committing crimes into prison, giving them their punishment and sending them back home. Whereas if we keep everything illegal, we keep addicts in prison, then prisons are just underfunded, overran, criminals are coming over willy-nilly. We don't know because we've not done any checks. Sometimes countries and other places might not have, fingerprints and they might not have the information to provide and say, oh, this person's not safe. But when they do commit said crime post coming over, then we would have that free prison space to get them there and try and get them back home to serve their time. And it would also free up spaces for our own criminals and our own gangs here that are, and it's not like we would not be jailing dealers and bad people, the people who are actually causing mass RIPs over addicts, but we would just be not putting said addicts into prison.
Yeah, I actually do agree with the majority of what you just said. The one thing I would slightly disagree on is if a migrant came over who has a criminal record and has come over to a different country to evade their criminal system, that does put pressure on our system because we are dealing with another person's criminal. So
Yeah.
to prevent further crimes, I believe they should be sent back and
Yeah, no,
actually
that's why
be
I'm
made
saying,
to
like,
pay.
at that point, if they came to the UK and there and then, without letting them go stay anywhere else, we would be checking people first. And obviously, there's a limit. We can't check every single person. I get that. There's probably many legal reasons for that, such as paperwork, or as you say, like, even the people in the other country might not know they're a criminal. They might just be evading it so they can get away. Is check
Well,
them and instantly lock them up and then send them back.
yeah, that's why I agree that, I mean, with the deportation centres, I know a lot of the criminals do get sent there and they're given the chance of trial,
It's
but a
just the
lot of
way
us going to
deportation
people that
centres
just...
run
Sorry?
is just like I think the way deportation centres run is very like, I get it, it's for security purposes, but it's also, there's so many, like, the majority of criminals versus people who are seeking asylum is massive, you know. So like it's such a dangerous thing. You don't want to put innocent people through that, but at the same time, what happens to the severe, dangerous criminals that were then accidentally letting off and giving them the wee, oh, there's a cup of tea, you know? Like, there has to be a balance, and I don't know how we would do that.
No. The one thing I did find out was when you had former ISIS soldiers coming back over to the UK. I read somewhere in 2017 they were the security people who were dealing with them coming in. They were actually saying, they come in and then they go AWOL and we can't trace them, and that to me was scary enough because it means that those soldiers, they're still around today, they're still in hiding, and they're evading capture because they do not want to take responsibility for the crimes that they've caused, and they are still radicalized. And I think we need a better system and how we're dealing with it. That's why I disagree with open borders, because at the moment modern open borders are being mismanaged, and for that very reason, because people are coming in undocumented or they are evading capture.
Yeah.
And we need, I mean, I disagree with some, I disagree slightly with fully closed borders, but there needs to be a compromise.
Yeah, there needs to be like a safe alternative, but
Yeah.
also a strict enough alternative which keeps everyone safe. Like, for example, a criminal from any of these countries could be anything from a bread thief, a man-loving man, or a complete gang. I don't want to say the word, but you know what I mean. You know, probably know what I'm referring to.
With people that are with the homosexuals coming over from countries that have made them illegal to even exist, I see them as, they are political and religious refugees, because they are evading a punishment which they shouldn't be subjected to, because so that to me, that is a proper refugee. But when you have criminals coming in pretending to be these types of people, it makes it easier for them just to evade, and we need a better system.
Yeah, because with the system that, okay, all the reformers are saying is illegal, it's all illegal, immigrants are all coming over in boats and raiding the beaches. The government have told them to do that. They can't get on a plane, they don't have a national insurance number with a British passport, or a Israeli passport, or a Syrian passport, or a Latvian passport. Well, they would, but Ukrainian.
there are illegal migrants coming in by not just by dinghies, or they are coming in luggage storage on ferries. They're coming over on planes in the luggage storage, so they are able to get in, and even
they're doing the extremists and then getting in unnoticed.
Yeah, so I do agree with you. That's why I do not support reform. When Nigel Farage wasn't leading it, there were views from reform I did agree with, but since he's come as well, I'm not interested, because it is mainly focusing on the boats coming in, and yes, that is an issue, but it's ignoring all the other ways that these illegals are getting in. It's so it is.
I have lived with people that reformers I would say are illegals. I don't want to out people's business, but I've had people from different countries, one not war torn but orphaned, over in without a passport on a plane to the UK, emergency passports, but that's because there wasn't a war-torn country, I've had people from war-torn countries make it to other countries before getting here and being given emergency passports that way. But it's the UK who are saying, look, you just don't have passports, you don't have national insurance, you aren't on the benefit system, you can't actually get on said plane or said ferry with said passport gate border, you have to come over via these ferries. And then who joins them on the boats or steals them or pushes them in the water? The people who are criminals and are also trying to get over. And then all these reformers are like, yay, puncture the boats. And it's like, your own government, the ones that you're trying to lick their butts, are the ones telling them to do that. And they're using such the wrong terminology. Exactly, people aren't illegal, but the reformers are like, oh, everyone's illegal. The term illegal immigrant would be referring to someone who comes over on said visa, whether that's someone from Spain or Italy or from Johannesburg, and then overstaying their visa or committing said crime. That would be an illegal immigrant. Being an asylum seeker,
I have no issue with people coming to this country, but they need to be able to, if they are coming over to give themselves a better life, get work and contribute to our economy and actually integrate, I have no issue with that. But a lot of people that I've spoken to, they say, oh, you're racist, you're fascist, because I'm trying to say this, but because I'm not saying all illegals should be able to come in or wherever, but I cannot actually have this conversation all the time, because I get accused of being all sorts of things, even though I'm just trying to find common ground and a compromise to the situation.
That's why I'm now confused about chartreuse. Because if people think you have that rhetoric and people know that I don't have that rhetoric, chartreuse says that I've called people the illegals and that you're W host because you don't think that. But you're saying that people think you think that, and I know people know that I don't think that. So why does chartreuse think that I think that?
Sorry?
Chartreuse is basically saying, I think I'm calling people the illegals. No, I'm talking about reforms viewing. I'm not saying what I... Chartreuse thinks that I'm the one being racist.
Yeah, you're not being racist. No, actually, you're not being racist.
I wouldn't say you are. I'm just saying when you're saying that other people would call or think, when you're saying when people are saying that against your views, yeah. I'm saying, why does chartreuse think the opposite in this moment? That's all.
Oh, why? I think it's because a load of people see if you are critical of some of the how the system works, they think you are anti anybody who's coming in, and it's not the case. Because I've stated many times on my lives to other people that I'm for economic migrants, and that is legal migration, because they are able to come in and actually prove who they are. But it's the issue that I have is with those who illegally come in and determining why they're coming. So, but it's
Although
like,
that
I
is
don't
a
have
very
any
small
references or-
percentage. You know, there's
I know
definitely
it's
more
small
white
percentage.
criminals than asylum seeker criminals, for sure.
Yeah, this is what I mean. I know it's a small percentage, but just because it's a small percentage doesn't mean it shouldn't be dealt with. Because I think both issues can go hand in hand, and both issues can be dealt with.
If we can't have like the horrible icy patrolly type of borders, then there should be an incentive. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's people on day 3 who end up committing crimes, but if they're not actively trying to do what everyone else is doing as an asylum seeker and actually seeking refuge and jobs and health and safety, then a week, 2, 3 week, well, that's a bit soon, but a month in, then we would start pulling them in and questioning them and going, okay, so why are you here if you're just like being a bad person, you know? Because everyone else, like 98% of anyone who comes here would be like, oh, like, let me try and get on benefits, or let me try and get a job, or let me go to this volunteer soup kitchen this weekend. Whereas if they're not doing that and they're hanging around teens and parks and stuff, then you would be like, okay, well, go home, you're not actually safe. Because if we try and lock up everyone and keep them in a deportation office, then that's unsafe for every majority.
I don't think everybody should be locked up. I mean, with regards to people just hanging around in parks, that would be classed as anti-social behaviour depending on what they're doing, and anybody can contribute to that, not just illegal migrants. There are indigenous British people who do antisocial things, and there should be something in place where that should be dealt with to prevent antisocial behaviour. But they also should go towards anybody of any of all other ethnic communities as well.
Yeah, last summer there was a massive racial outlash because we had like antisocial behavior. We did have a massive, like, you know, like one of those beaches where everyone goes to and it's summer and ends up being mobbed with like thousands of people. There was a group of migrants who were there and being antisocial, and they were, I would say, committing crimes. They were being perverts or whatever. Fast forward 2 weeks, and there's another group of migrant people there with their family, their children, they're having barbecues, they're having a lovely family day out. Cue the racist rhetoric all over Facebook with people accusing them of taking pictures of children when it was literally just their own families. You know? 2 weeks difference.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole country goes, or the whole area goes wild and racist over 3 people that could have been arrested at that point and told not to be nonsense or whatever they were doing 2 weeks previous.
Yes. We do. Where I live, we did actually recently have people coming in, and they were racist reform supporters. They literally came in and started graffitiing over the Orthodox church that's down the road from me, because those who are attending it, they are from I think it's the Asian community I think it's Bangladesh, but they're Syrian Orthodox, but because they are not white, they are of colour. You had a group of racist reformers coming into my town. They're not indigenous to the town centre, I can tell you that. But they just came in graffitiing, saying F the P word. I'm not going to say it because I'm going to get censored on TikTok. And they were saying F Muslims. And I was like, how stupid are you? that you think that all people of colour are Muslim. There are people of colour who are Christian. And, you know, you literally had, you
There's
know,
people of
this
colour
Asian
from
community. They
every
were
country.
waiting.
Sorry for
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine. It's like you got white Muslims. I've met a white Muslim because he was actually a former tutor of mine at university. He converted to Islam to marry somebody because he fell in love with her, and to marry a Muslim woman, a man has to convert to Islam in order
That's crazy.
for
Me too.
Yeah.
I also had a teacher who was a white English man who he'd lived in Saudi Arabia to be a tutor, and he came back here recently, and he became Muslim, and he wore his Arab outfits a lot, even in the UK.
Wow, mine was an art teacher. Yeah, that was years ago now. What's the full prompt? The full prompt. So I'll try and move my head out the way because for some reason it's taken off the camera thing. For some reason, hang on.
I will
Moving my
say,
head.
I grew up early 2000s, so a lot of the times Polish people and Latvian people were coming over, possibly some maybe, you know, sneaking over as well, I don't know. But I have a question for you. How many racial and xenophobic slurs do you know against Polish or Latvian people that are going around the UK? Even though there's criminal gangs and communities where a lot of people live in the same sort of schemes, how many like horrible words and names do you know about them people?
I have honestly not heard the slurs towards Polish people.
Exactly, because
so
there is none. Because there is none. It's a colour issue. It's a skin colour issue in Britain, or degenerating. We're de-evolving back to the way we used to be, and it's not good.
Yeah, I do agree that, you know, if they are committing a crime, they should be arrested and dealt with properly. That's why the prompt exists, because I want to find out from Americans, because all I'm seeing is anti-ICE, for ICE, but I never see them actually discussing how to deal with the alternative and how what ICE are dealing with should be dealt with. Because I had a guest on earlier that was talking about how Obama was dealing with it, and I wanted to find, because he's been so long since he was president, I completely forgot what he did. So I was actually asking him, how did Obama deal with it, and was wondering if we could bring how Obama dealt with it back, if ICE is so destructive. Yeah, I'm from the UK as well. So it was an American issue that I wanted to gauge an idea on, to find out what was actually going on.
Yeah, that's why I'm using a lot of the UK as an example.
Yeah. Sorry. What was it? Is it Charty? Chart? Oh, chart reuse lens. Can I call you Chart for short?
Chartreuse.
I'm saying if, because I'm seeing two different sides of that. I'm seeing different sides. Like, you see some videos that have ICE talking to the protesters, and the protesters are not helping, admittingly, because they bring up, the ICE agents have brought up issues to them because they're actually talking to the protesters, and the protesters, we don't care about this. And there was two of them, and the agent said, well, why are you here if you don't care about it? Because we care about it. And it was actually, these two agents were actually trying to hunt down a child abuser who just happened to be a migrant. But the protesters, is why I do disagree with some of the anti-ICE protests, because the protests are not helping the agents who genuinely want to do their job. that's my perspective. Yes, I know that there are some agents who have done bad things, and they should be dealt with. They should be treated as criminals because they are abusing their position of power. But I've seen some genuine ICE agents who are just trying to do their job. What's that? Did you mean to come up? Is it a lead? Is it a lead? A lead? I'm sorry.
Well, their name would be Ailey.
Ailey.
So their username is Ailey Peely.
Oh, is it a Celtic name?
I would assume Irish or Scottish, or maybe just
Scottish. Yeah, she's
named
from,
after it.
Yeah, she's from Scotland.
Hello, yes,
Hi.
it's Gaelic, it's Scottish. And I love when people know my name, so big up to Chloe.
Yes, this is a really nice name, by the way.
Thank you very much. My argument would be that ICE as an institution would be the issue and not necessarily individual members, whether they are doing their job or whether they are being corrupted by the power or whatever. I would argue that it's the actual institution that is the problem.
Yeah. So what is it about the organisation that you will disagree with?
I personally don't know that much about ICE because it's not my country and the whole thing scares me, to be honest. So I'm can be a bit of a sand burrier at times. However, I think anything that is any institution that is willing to base their arrests on looks is just corrupt. And you can't say that they don't base their arrests on looks because they've had tips and just gone in and arrested everyone on site. That's what they're known for.
Yeah, I have seen a story, I think it was last year now, where there was a guy who was falsely imprisoned and moved to Mexico, where he hadn't actually committed the crime. But that was the only one that was actually in the news. So I'm sure there was a load more in that situation.
I don't think it's a case of having a separate, I keep coming to this word institute because I can't think of the other word that I actually mean. But
I think it would be classed as an organisation or institute.
Yeah, an organisation is probably a better word for it. But it would be a case. I think the same way for like any minority group that has these sort of generalized allegations and things like that, that it should be on a case by case basis, the same way that white people are treated in crime.
Yeah, that I actually do agree with that.
Yeah, that's why I was just asking. I don't know if you were in the live at the time. I was asking, does she know any racial or xenophobic slurs against Polish or Latvian people in the UK? She couldn't think of any because there's none.
No, I literally just joined at that point, and I sat there and went, "Oh my god, that is a brilliant." I've never heard anyone explain it that way, but you're absolutely spot on.
Even though some of them would still come over illegally or live in communities or commit crimes, there's none.
Don't get me wrong, my grandma is the most racist person walking, and she does not like anyone from any other country. And her only word she uses for Polish people is thief. Yeah, like she paints everyone with the same type of brush, but like that's her only slur for white people that she doesn't like.
Yep. There's no racist rhetoric there,
Nope.
There's no xenophobic rhetoric, which would be a better word as well, because you're also white, but yeah.
Yeah, enzophobia is actually the better word to use because it Endophobic is the fear or it's the fear or hatred of somebody of a foreign country or foreign identity that's not, but it's not necessarily racist. But it can be used interchangeably.
But it completely shows that the UK mostly is racist again, and more than this xenophobia or fear, which is also a problem. I don't understand why it's fearful to be scared. I guess it's fearful to be fearful of any strangers, but if you're not uncomfortable, why be unfearful?
This might be like really a fucking wild take, and as I say, not actually the most educated on the topic. However, I'd go as far as to argue that the UK played a massive hand in how racist the world is.
Yeah, you would be very educated in saying so. From the moments we started colonizing.
What was that?
What was that, sorry, host?
Sorry, it glitched out. Can you repeat some of what you said?
Yeah, I was just saying that I think that the UK is one of the biggest reasons that the world is as racist as it is.
Oh, you're talking about the British Empire?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
even go for it.
I was going to say, did you know that actually by skin tone, technically white people should be the minority?
Yep.
And because if you look at the maps, all these countries are construed to look tiny. They're actually huger than Europe and Americas, and there's billions of people. I was watching a video just about Papua New Guinea. There's billions of people just on that island alone. Never mind. We think there's lots of people in the UK. We're not a lot of people. We're not a lot of white people in Western
We just have
Europe
a
countries.
massive presence in the global economy and psychology and media.
Yeah, we colonized, assaulted everyone, left everyone pregnant, stole all of their riches, left everyone poor, told people we grew up even in my time in the 2000s that all Africa was poor and they all lived in huts and stuff. Some of them are the richest countries, right? But the majority of these poor countries that we're being brainwashed to think about is because of us. All the British colonies, all their jewels, all their riches stolen because of us.
And then we freak out because there's now wars in these countries that people
World
need to try
War
and
I and
escape.
II. We need Indians to come and help us. We need Africans to come and help us win the war. Oh, come and live in the UK, but we're going to say all these horrible things about you. We're going to take all of your cultures, make it our culture, and then be horrible to them.
I would take it slightly further, and I will mention there are some charities I disagree with, because if you look at how they run things, they don't actually support some of the African communities that they help, because they are not actually, how do I word this without offending anybody? They don't teach people how to be dependent themselves, but they make them reliant on the charity for support. So there are some African communities that are stuck in a rut agriculturally because the charities are making them, and I would say use oxen for example, because they are guilty of it. They would make them reliant on their resources.
Yeah.
And therefore are not teaching the African people that are struggling how to be self-sustaining. And you could say that is a remnant of colonialism.
Oh yeah.
Did you say Oxfam?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm not sure how they. Sorry.
I would agree.
Okay. There there's another there was a few other charities. I mean, I even say Water Aid as well.
I was going to say there's probably quite a few, because the way that money and charity works is often a really nice loophole for lots and lots of billionaires. That's why lots of billionaires end up having their own charities and things like that, because they're like tax exempt or something like that. So they can just like, they can launder their money through it. They can like give themselves extras and things like that. So it's an easy way for them to hide how much money they actually have.
Look at this massive 20-person trailer truck I've just bought to go and help the Africans. And then they don't even say like, oh, it's the Zimbabwe people or it's the Kenyan people. It's just the Africans.
That's why there's people out there that think that Africa's a country.
Yeah. And it's all poor, and it's not got like Lagos, like the most richest country in place in the world and stuff. Another thing is, I'm not sure, I wasn't there at the time, but you know how like when the British colonies were stealing from all these countries and now they're poor thousands of years later, I don't imagine they did any safe negotiations, but were probably very violent and horrific. But when it comes to British colonies such as India and Australia and, you know, Canadian, which would possibly include like Inuit culture, when we're stealing from their cultures, we probably promised them like return of, you know, oh, we're taking your shit, we'll give you all this money back and help you have these great communities, and then we never did. And like what I said about the Polish and Latvians, I have another thing to ask. Or reference. You go to the slums of Rio de Janeiro, and everyone says, whoa, this is so culturally so cool, oh, the gangs, oh, it's so beautiful. Identical to the Indian slums, but ooh, that's nasty and that's full of diseases. And I watched a YouTube video 2 days ago and it showed you a picture of both. You couldn't tell the difference, and he swapped them around. And that just shows how easily racist we are by cultures, by skin colours.
That actually does remind me, it was a few years ago now, but there was an image of a Sikh going around, who had been falsely accused of something that he hadn't done, and it's because there were people misconstruing him as a Muslim. So they were literally, and it wasn't just the right wing lot, it was the left wing as well that were slandering his image around, because he was I think the Sikh was actually holding a flag. I can't remember what flag it was, but it wasn't racist or anything, but they misconstrued it as racist. And the leftists were saying he was racist as well. And I said, that's not racist, and he's not even Muslim. But because they immediately saw he had a head covering, they automatically assumed he was a Muslim, but it wasn't. But it damaged his reputation as a result. I can't remember what happened to him, but I remember him speaking out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't part of the start of the Middle East on the edge of Europe, part of Africa, and also mostly Asia? So obviously they are mostly the same skin tone. But also I was going to say, it could be racial though, depending on what country they're from, and we're misconstrued as it could still also be racial as well as xenophobic. And also, what's the religious one again? Semitic?
Jewish?
No, like, when you're thinking, it's the word for any religion, so like Protestant, be Catholic and stuff. It's like being anti-Semitic.
Abrahamic.
Oh, well, we use the term anti-Semitic. We get arrested if we sing anti-Semitic football songs, such as religious songs in public.
Yeah.
We get...
Yeah, the Semitic peoples, they this can go right back to the ancient times. Part of North Africa, Semitic. The Egyptian language is Semitic, so they are classed as Semitic people, and it goes right through to Asia, the Far East, because there are some Semitic peoples there, and it stops at Turkey, where which is originally called Angolia, and that was before the Greeks came and took over. So it's the border stops at Turkey, but literally the Semitic people can be found throughout Asia, North Africa, and the border of Europe. There was either some Semitic peoples in the Caucasia, which is where the mountains are, where you had the Arabs come over. Atheist paganism.
I was gonna say, yeah, because when we first appeared in Africa, we kind of spread. I don't know how some of us got on the water, because some of us went to Polynesia and some of us went to South America, even though there was vast oceans even back then. But we went sort of mostly to Asia first, and then we spread out towards North America and Europe. So yeah, I guess that's probably why we're called Caucasians, because we kind of came from a specific range or whatever.
European people, including those of Celtic descent, so the Celtic peoples and the Gaelic people can trace their ancestry back to Iberia, and Iberia, parts of Northern Europe, and Eastern Europe. We share ancestry with the Asians, and that's why we get called Caucasians, or were originally called Caucasians, because we do share distant ancestry with the Asian people. But it's not all Europeans and not all Celtic people, but some.
That's actually really interesting. I love learning shit. I've heard of like an Iberian goat or something, so I didn't know that I had potentially Iberian roots. I might actually YouTube that for like 10 hours.
Yeah, in Iberia, a lot of like you had the Ostrogoths, you had the Visigoths, which is the Germanic peoples went over, but the Gaels and the Gaels, who were the original inhabitants of the British Isles, they came over to Ireland and spread to Scotland and Wales. They came from Iberia, and then the Celts had Iberian roots, but they had already spread over to Northern Europe, and then from there you had the Brittonic peoples, which is where the Welsh descend from.
Yeah.
But they were linked to Iberia, and with the Germanic they intermixed in with the Gaels,
Who were
and the original Portuguese people. Sorry, you were saying? Sorry?
I was going to ask you, who are the Picts? Do they fit into all them communities that you're discussing?
Yeah, the Picts, they are descended from the Gaels as well. But they also, from what is understood, they also had they had Northern European roots, because if you look at where Scotland is, they bordered on Sweden, Denmark, and there are some Scottish islands that actually have Nordic roots and actually do reject Scottish identity, because they have, like the Shetland Islands, they have closer ties to the Northern European culture to Scottish.
Yeah, they have their own language and they're closer. Yeah. And it may have also stemmed from a lot of the European, like not all of them would have came by boat, some of them would have crossed Doggerland.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're both part of the circles of LDS. I'm not sure, are you LDS?
You're Latter-day Saint.
No. I'm saying we're both in the circle, of like Willow and like
I remember you now. I thought I recognised you.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, I
religious.
recognise that,
No.
yeah.
No, I'm not religious, but I went to like Catholic school, so I'm not religious though. But
Okay, yeah, I
they were
recognise you now.
they were discussing like how horses didn't exist in the Americas, except from what I've depicted, a lot of Native Americans had horses. But anyway, they were discussing how like Columbus and Joseph Smith was like how the one of the earlier people to come to the North America for existence. We know that the Spaniards came and took over Mexico and then started the plague that took over all the Aztecs in South America, etc.,
I've
etc.,
got one
etc.
question for the three. I've actually got a question for the two of you as well. 3 years now. If my wife is Welsh and I'm Scottish, what would my kids be? Welsh Scots,
I would just say
Welsh-ish.
Celtic in general.
Well,
'Cause I'm a
Scottish.
Celtic. Well, I'm a Celtic. Hi from Scotland, by the way.
Hi.
We've got so
I-
much Scottish representation going on.
And I've come now actually believing the old pagan stuff. And just so you know, I used to be goth, emo, metalhead, rocker,
Nice to
punk.
meet you.
Do take your pick. No pun intended. And
You just missed.
the one
You
thing I
just
don't
missed the
like
biggest.
is Yankees. And also
Yankees.
ice you can fucking melt for all I care. Immigration, fuck you.
Language.
Patriots, fuck you. Protesters, fuck you. Police, definitely go fuck
Weird.
yourselves.
You're
Government,
gonna get
fuck
yourself
off.
fucking bananaed.
Oh, I've been bananaed all my life. I've got nothing
Exactly,
else to
but
do.
it's not your life, fam.
You've just missed the biggest country's punk festival in my town then, if you're all of them titles. And also, did you say F the Yankees?
No, just don't like the Yankees.
Do you mean Americans? Do you mean Americans?
Oh, right on the head.
Yeah, the Yanks are usually.
Yeah, because I was going to say, also my town literally is an American Scottish town. Like, we trained the Navy.
Where's that, Texas?
No, Argyle. We're in Argyle. We trained the
Good
American
on.
Navy. We
Good
had
Lord.
Dunkin' Donuts and roller rinks and American bars
Good Lord.
everywhere.
You should come to Dundee. It's nothing but a
No,
shithole.
thank you. No, thank you.
Exactly. Granted, on the other hand, Americans do have good music. Now you respect that, big time. But see when it comes to blooming politics, nah. Because you've got an orange Oompa Loompa being president.
Oh, you don't like Trump?
Who doesn't?
I was gonna say.
And mind you, I don't like governments in general, so that's not my problem. That's everyone else's. The only thing I'm just saying is, hey, mind you, don't get me wrong. I love the American music. I mean, you had country, you had rap, and you had metal. Hi, how you doing? And the only thing I've got to say is one little thing, because I know I've been ranting. Back in the 2000s, Christians used to have a puppet for being Goths. All because of Marilyn Manson. Goth music is Satan. Goth music is evil. Goth music is scary.
Yeah, but Marilyn Manson is evil.
Yeah, and I used to be a big fan of him.
Marilyn Manson has been cleared of all allegations.
Again,
So what he was accused of, he's been cleared.
And I used to be a big fan of him. No thanks to the.
I don't think I could like someone who has allegations that don't.
And that many allegations as well.
I was a kid.
Michael Jackson
Let me finish,
had
will you
just
please?
as many, and he was sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
but
Beard,
Michael
go ahead,
Jackson
yeah.
had allegations because he was trying to bring down a sex ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also,
carry on, Beard.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I used to be a kid, and I used to be a big fan of Marilyn Manson before I found out what he was actually up to. And if he was a lot better than blimmin' Michael Jackson, that's for damn sure. Michael Jackson tried to fix the world. Passed away.
Yes.
You have to remember, though, victims.
Oh yeah, Kurt Cobain, gone.
multiple
Who else? Who else?
allegations
Who else?
usually come from
Who
someone.
else? Who else?
With
I need to
Marilyn
give my.
Manson's allegations, stuff came out about his ex-wife and how she had a friend of hers masquerading as somebody that she shouldn't have been masquerading as, which was illegal to do. But the reason why he had to take it to a different state to do is because in California you cannot take defamation cases. So the stuff she accused him of, she nor him could deal with in California. So that's why they left it and had to take it to a different state. But he's literally been cleared of everything.
What about
Because he
the Scottish girl that had made allegations against him?
When was this?
I cannot remember. Let me see if I can find it.
Mind you, if I was younger, if I was 30 in those days, I would have asked his wife to marry me. But
yeah,
what can you do?
When it comes to anyone with multiple allegations, when they're famous, the victims don't ever tend to get famous, and when there's multiple allegations, they don't tend to get a lot of money. So you always have to wonder where multiple allegations come from, because people will say, oh, they just want money, but when there's multiple, they won't get as much, and they'd never become famous from being a victim.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I did.
Lesser allegations, as Ailey says, is usually like trying to take someone down, or yes, by misreporting, like someone lying.
To be fair, I used to be a big fan of Anton LaFave, but I thought, nah, I don't like him anymore. What can you do? That's the leader of the satanic cult, by the way.
It was a girl called Gabriella. Sorry.
No, carry on.
It was a girl called Gabriella who goes by Sour Girl with 3 R's, who came forward publicly in 2021.
If I recall, I think her case was brought forward when he went to trial. So I think her case was brought forward. But I wouldn't be able to know because they literally just announced that he'd taken it to trial, the trial was over, and that he was cleared. It wasn't like Johnny Depp's trial where you saw everything.
That was funny. Fuck Amber Heard.
My dog, Stephen McBee.
In both cases, reactive abuse exists.
Don't F Amber B. You might get. Don't F Amber B. You might get something. You might catch something.
In both cases, reactive abuse exists, and she's actually doing pretty well for herself now.
Who Amber?
Sorry, that just came out. No, what Amber Heard?
Yeah, when it comes to that case, I think they're both as bad as each other.
I'm just more thinking. I just want to ask about one thing about Amber Heard. What strip club did they find her from? I want to know.
That's not.
That's something she cares about. She accuses guys who are abusing her, and then they take her money, and then she takes their money. So if that was me, I'd be like, bitch, you won't know the difference between abuse and stealing.
Yeah, no, that's not fair.
Oh, that's definitely fair. I used to be a big fan of Johnny Depp before that bitch came into his life.
And you can be a fan of me. Bad people
that's like me saying to my ex-wife, you got 2 options. You got the window or you got the door. Oh, you're going out the door. Oh, that's good then. I can slam it in your face. See ya.
Those are both abuse.
Yeah. You can be a fan of someone famous and they can be a bad person at the same time.
It's fact.
If you hear how Johnny discussed what was going on, she was coming at him, and when you got somebody physically coming at you, you are allowed to defend yourself, and if it means injuring the abuser whilst doing it, then that's just the natural consequences.
But what if it's reactive abuse?
I've heard the audio, and he said to her, he was talking about having his hair pulled, and that's because she was pulling his hair, and he said, how would you feel like if I did it back to you?
That's my boat.
Because that was literally self-defense at that point.
Don't get me wrong.
And I know about the incident where he allegedly kicked her, But if you look, from what came out afterwards, she was literally lunging her fists at him, and in that position, you are allowed to physically defend yourself. And if it meant him kicking out at her to push her away, then that is again a natural consequence of being abused, and that is self-defense.
To be fair,
Yeah.
when my ex abused me, like I just said, you got two options out the window, the door. You choose the door. Fair enough. Slam in the face. This is you see that from Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know when the old guy goes, "I'm free, I'm free." That was me.
Animus, do you know what like reactive abuse is?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever? Don't get me wrong, male or female, no one should be lifting hands on anyone. I get self-defense.
Honestly,
Just
self-defense.
in the first stance, no one should be lifting hands. But do you ever think that he's been provoking her and belittling her and minusculing her and wearing her down for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks until she
was the
fucking
one doing
flips
it to
out,
him.
and then he
She was
decides
the
to
one
hit her
doing it
back?
to him. She was the one doing it to him. There's literally footage of her provoking him.
How do we know that it's not? How do we know that it's not from both? Like,
You know the footage where you saw him slamming the doors, and he was literally just slamming about the cupboard doors. He was frustrated. I've honestly done it myself.
I mean,
when two broken people.
I want to take out my frustration on something. Yeah. So if it's an animate object, I will do it. And she puts the phone down and starts recording him, and she says stuff to him to provoke him more into anger. When he actually sees that she's filming him, he snatches it up, because where they were living at the time, it's actually illegal to actually document or film something without their permission. So he literally took the phone and walked off with it, and all she did was laugh at him because she found it funny and she was not afraid of him.
That's the thing, when two people who are so lost and think that they're found in each other, it can just lead to the most toxic circumstances ever on both parts, and it's really, really difficult to find a starting place.
That's down to being reactive, because the abuser knows how to push your buttons, so you will verbally start lashing out,
which I believe both are capable of.
Being pushed to near insanity, and I have actually been there, not with a romantic partner, but I've been there with family members.
I've been there both with family and romantic partners. I remember what it's like when you've reached your tether and you are being made to be crazy all the time, and the only way to get anything done is to shout and scream and lash out.
Yeah, which
is that's why you can see the out of other people, especially when they're in limelight.
The difference for me though is that my family were Christian. My family are Christian, and guess what? I told them to F themselves because I want to choose my own path in life. And what happens? I choose my own path, and the car turned out. Fantastic.
I was going to say, I don't know you. I don't know how you turned out.
Like, I don't think Russell Brand's a good man. I've been ridiculed on Facebook comments of how dare I say he's definitely guilty, even though decades and decades of proof that he's guilty proves that he's probably guilty.
I'm somebody that thinks that everybody who's accused of something needs to be given fair trial, so I'm going, because he's in the middle of trial at the moment, I think it's still ongoing.
To be honest,
I'm going to wait for the verdict.
To be honest with you,
it was recently he was guilty. Recently he got convicted of. Yeah.
To
be honest, a few weeks ago I was like, see, I told you.
I also really struggled to trust any verdicts, because so many things have come out about things being underhanded and there being like bribes and things like that.
To be honest with you,
I mean, that happened with when Johnny Depp tried to take the trial to the UK court, and because it was what happened is that the son won that court case, because it turned out that the judge was close friends with someone of Amber Heard's, so it was actually all manipulated to have him lose, and that's why he took it to Virginia.
To be honest with you,
all be done again.
To be honest with you, it was my court. if I was in court with my ex, I'd be like, you, ready, get some. It'd be in the blooming octagon. That's
Okay, well, I need to go.
that's MMA for those who don't know, or UFC for those who don't know.
Lovely. I've got to go to work now, lad, so it's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Not a problem.
Thank you. I wish we could have spoke about the melanin conversation. I see that in the comments.
Me too. I'm very, very interested in that. If I see you on a live again, I will jump up and we can start that conversation.
Please do.
You'll probably spot her on Walk the Faith's live, so definitely drop in because Willow's really cool anyway.
Okay. Yeah, her name Walk by Faith Girl under the name of Willow, or just follow this girl. Anonymous.
Yeah, anonymous. Yeah.
Great. Catch you in a bit. Bye.
Bye. So, Beard, what was your view on Trump again?
He's a Oompa Loompa.
Did you say fudgy Oompa Loompa?
An orange Oompa Loompa. Or if you prefer tango.
Will Pippin all their golf coals?
To be honest, I'm actually when I see people with really orange tan, I do wonder how somebody thought that was actually a good look.
To be honest with you,
they actually look like Oompa Loompas.
Even when the fake tan is really good, I always wonder why racist people do fake tan, because they're literally trying to change their melanin. But also, I get that some fake tan baddies look gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but they're trying to mimic dead skin cells. Does that make sense? Because that's what a tan is. Like, don't get me wrong, they look beautiful, some of them, but they're mimicking yucky dead skin.
To be honest with you, like that was like my mate is a proper I think he's a comedian. That's what he thinks. He goes, yeah, I still cannot believe that Michael Jackson was born black, but then he turned white. He goes, you must have seen a ghost or something. I'm like, no, I think he's just been the fog for far too long.
He did have vitiligo. That's a condition that destroys pigmentation, and white people can have that condition as well, but it's less noticeable.
Yeah.
But the condition is he just eats the melanin out of your skin at a rapid rate.
Yep, and sadly, still to this day, some communities and cultures will bleach their skin as well. Yeah, especially if Michael Jackson was going, like back in the day, Michael Jackson would have been, because there was a lot of rumours that that's what he did. I wouldn't put it past him if he did it for insecurities as well.
Did it. Yeah,
I still say no.
But back then, the only treatment for vitiligo was a cream that had a tiny amount of bleach as a percentage in it, which was to control the rapid rate of the loss of pigmentation. So it was far quicker to actually even out the uneven skin. So it did.
So that it actually kept them darker longer than making them lighter.
Yeah, it basically made them lighter quicker, because it was easier to maintain or to cover up the pale spots than there was actually to regain the dark pigmentation. But the difference between his is that it was medicated and controlled, whilst with Latoya, she would, from what I've read, she would actually steal his cream and actually apply it, and then she would then later go on to actually buy the illegal stuff, or to buy over the counter, which is higher percentage of bleach in it and is actually not medically approved, which is where a lot of Asian women are going for, black women in America buying. So it's the unnatural amount of bleach they're actually applying on their skin, and it actually causes skin burns and stuff. But now, if Michael had lived, and I think this started happening in the 2010s, there's now new treatment for vitiligo where they actually would go to a it's like a special machine where they go under, and it's like a you know the
machine?
laser treatment. Yeah, you know the laser treatment that people get to deal with body hair. It's like that, only for skin, and is actually more efficient than the cream. So the cream is not actually used now.
To be honest with you, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I'm a hairy get, you know. I mean, like I'm a hairy guy, you know. That's why I think that's why my mates think. That's sorry. I think that's why my mates call me the Scottish werewolf. I really don't know. But a few weeks ago, I was literally just thinking myself, looking in the mirror, and thinking myself, I don't know. I mean, I'm baldy, but I'm thinking maybe I should try to grow my hair out to get dreadlocks. Then my mate turned around and goes, would that not be hypocritical culture for you, Matt? For you being Viking? I goes, I don't know. I just think it's waste. I just think it saves money on razor blades and shameful.
It depends, because didn't Scotland colonise Jamaica at one point? Which is not a great thing.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
But I just thought, no, just stick to being bald and just braid my beard. Just braid my beard instead. Give it the more Viking style.
With locks, there were ancient European cultures that did have locks, but they were dealt with differently to African dreadlocks.
It's not just that. What beeps me off more is the fact that every time I'm in my own little city, Dundee, I get judged for being a neo-nacho.
We braided our hair for war and ceremonies.
Exactly, I still do. Well, if I had my beard, obviously I had to shave it off. But no, I could treat it more as a neo-nacho because of the way I'm dressed and the way I look. You know, back in the old days, back in 2000s, we got, obviously you might know this, can I just call you Gothy? Gothy.
Makeup as much at the moment.
Yeah, we got judged for wearing piercings and tattoos at the job place. And that's why I decided to say to my head teachers and my principals and my college guys to say, yeah, if I get judged for wearing piercings and tattoos, then I say F yous. You don't like my style? I don't like authority then. Plain and simple.
Can I jump back to the Michael Jackson thing with the vitiligo?
Yeah, go for it.
Is it safe to live with, like, unmedicated? Like, is it, obviously, like, you would maybe need treatment for moisturising, I guess, but... Because surely back then it would have been seen as, like, a bad thing, something to change or fix, but it's like, oh, it could have been empowered in him rather than, oh, you need to change, Michael, you need to change.
Well, with vitiligo, I mean, he also had lupus, which had symptoms that would cross over, like when it comes to photosensitivities, risk of skin cancer. He would have to obviously cover himself from the sun because of the exposed skin. That wasn't because it wasn't just the melanin. It's not melanin is not just a color; it's a protective layer of skin to protect you from UV light. So when that was stripped away, Michael didn't have, or anybody with vitiligo doesn't actually have the UV light protective layer of skin, so they are at risk of getting skin cancer. But now, if people with vitiligo, they will literally just go to this machine and literally just it's like a thing from what they described it as like a blue light. So they'll go under it and it would literally just treat it, but it's not curable.
That's so scary. But it also goes back to like what Ailey was saying about how like it's our fault like racist things happen all over the world, because what do you mean black people or Asian people are trying to lighten their skin to look more white?
Well, you think that's bad? I think that's bad. I used to say Eminem's a white guy trying to be black. Well, you got Michael Jackson, who's black, but he's also white.
I mean, well, Eminem did grow up around black culture.
Yeah, I mean, he was an example of cultural appreciation than appropriation. because he
I
that's
think
the culture
Eminem's a
he
bit of a
grew up
fud,
with.
but what can you do?
Well, that's why he was respected by a lot of these gangs, was because of his upbringing, as
I mean, me
opposed to just a
personally,
random white guy pretending to be.
I think Eminem's a bit of a fud because I just don't like his music.
He's one of my favourite people in the
I mean,
world.
after all, rap is crap, so what can you do?
I liked his older music when I was younger. But yeah, quickly going back to the racism, it wasn't just white people that committed racism. If you go right back to slavery itself, the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade happened because the Europeans, the British, the Scottish, they were buying slaves from Africa because Africa was actually practicing slavery long before we were. And we bought into their slave trade. And it was the same with the Barbary slave trade as well, which was run by the Muslims. I think it's the Ottoman, not the Ottoman Empire, but the Arabic world. I mean, the Arabic world still today still owns slaves, and
yeah,
but Europeans will buy into their slave trade.
Yeah, North Africa is crazy for their slave history, like with Muslims in Egypt.
And I mean, this is something. I mean, because I was having a discussion about Israel and Palestine earlier, and something that a lot of people do not talk about is that in Palestine, there are Palestinian people owning slaves. There is a region of Palestine where they actually keep slaves, and there is another region of Palestine that have an African community where the native Palestinian people call them slaves because that's what they remember them to be. So the Arab world, the Middle Eastern world, is still the only place that has a live and kicking slave trade still, and that includes Palestine.
Me personally, I think Israel and Palestine should kiss and make up.
Guaranteed, still.
So we don't have this issue.
No, we don't. No.
Can't kiss and make
had
up.
it abolished years ago.
They can't kiss and make up thanks to the UK and the US after World War II.
And that's why I stay away from all that shite.
It's our fault.
It's not my fault. I didn't ask for Israel and Palestine to go head to head.
It's whoever our ancestors voted to be in power back then.
No, I think our ancestors were actually laughing and saying, like, what are these two on about? Israel and Palestine? Oh, no idea. We're up here enjoying ourselves.
I think, yes, our ancestors made bad decisions. Our ancestors did horrible things, but we are not our ancestors. We need to stop.
The problem is we're not helping to fix it.
We need to stop holding ourselves against our ancestors and reflecting on our own actions based on what our ancestors did, because we are not our ancestors.
Well, I get that. We can't apologise for centuries and centuries and centuries, but the problem is if we just sit back and leave them to it, hence why the whole reform stuff and everything, multiculturalism. We don't want multiculturalism, apparently, even though our whole culture is based off multiculturalism. And it's like...
Yeah.
Well, personally, I think the Vikings...
We can't apologise anymore for what we've done, but can we not at least go and help them rather than keep bombing them all?
Well, I think the Vikings had an idea. I mean, think about it. I mean, I think they just woke up one day and go, hey, let's go raid Europe. Let's go raid this. Let's go raid that. Let's go raid over there. Let's go raid over there. And they all just got together and go, let's do it. Let's make boats and ships and just go from there. Aye. And we come back and we'll see what happens.
I also recall you need your
dinner.
dinner.
To them, that was a vacation. That's like me going to Turkey for a whole week and coming back and be like, that was good. What happened? Got drunk, had a bit of fun, had more drink, had more fun. The usual. So what do you think about coming back home? I hate it.
Yeah, my mum and dad they went over to the Gambia, this was long before I was born, and they lived there for 6 months. And because they lived over there for so long, mum had got used to the climate. She got used to the culture there. So when they ended up coming back, I mean, she actually could tell me horror stories of what, like, because during the time that they lived there was the coup, and the Gambian police were very corrupt back then. I don't know if it's the same now, but they came back, and mum would literally have panic attacks because she was not used to seeing cars, because she lived in the Gambia. There was seldom cars back then, so when she was seeing crowds of people and cars everywhere, she was like, "Where am I? I'm not used to this." And my grandma was like, "You're back home." I was like, "I know I'm back home, but I'm not used to this. There's people. I used to just go for miles and there was nobody in Gambia. Now I'm surrounded by people." She had to reclimatize to be in the UK.
We got corrupted police over here as well, love.
Yes, I know. I know.
And they're the worst of all countries.
Yeah.
Debatable, but contextual.
Nothing contextual about it. I had one picture having to go with my little sister, and I told them, "You ever go near my sister again on a live here in front of your family?" And what happens? I'm the one that gets off with a warning. Where's the other guy? Where's the other guy? And I'm no, because the police are on his side. No, F off. F off. That's why I hate police more than the blooming government.
We have so much freedom, and we can commit so much petty crimes that would get you in so much danger in these other countries. So, I put in the comments, your mum probably had low-key agoraphobia trying to come back and climatising in UK culture.
Yeah, when mum was telling me, she was just trying to make a bit of a joke about it, because she lived over there somewhere. But yeah, going back to the police, the issue that is happening with the police, and something that we couldn't talk about a couple of years ago after the Southport incident, but they are actually still going after people for saying things online that may be misconstrued as being racist or fascist when it's not. But they will literally go up to your door and say, "Somebody's reported you as saying this and that," and actually will arrest you for it. And that,
yeah, they
and
do
that's.
That now. That just made me laugh. They didn't come to. That made me laugh. They didn't come to my door. They had to go to them. I was like, pfft. Even though, like I said, I was defending my little sister, granted, because I don't care about the left or the right or the patriots or the protesters and all that crap. I was just only doing it to defend my sister. And granted, she is bigger than me, but she's also my little sister. So, but the thing was, I just thought, no. Even though I promised my family I would never get involved with all that, but when that guy called her that, I just thought, I'm done. No, I'm in. I'm stepping in.
Hang on. You called your sister overweight, and somebody had the police.
I'm talking about height. I'm talking about height, love. I'm talking about height.
Oh, height. Oh.
If I was talking about weight, then I will be in trouble.
Okay. So that's
hence why she's bigger than me.
That's still quite extreme to have somebody at your door over a comment like that.
Extreme. They didn't even bother to come to my door. Like I said, I had to go to them. I had to go to the police station. You see where I'm getting? You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah, I get you now. Yeah. Sorry, I misheard you.
They look at it, but they just look at it and I was on a good day. See what I says to him was, because I see what, no, I couldn't be well. Trust me, you should see me in a blooming bad day. I would have just said to them was, dude, just so you know, your best mate, the Patriots, yeah, they started it, I effing finished it. I even did say to the officer, because I respect them, because obviously, yeah, they're doing their job. But when they corrupt it like that, I just want to go, Kim, he's just lucky I didn't actually go to his door.
Wow.
Because that night was a good day. It's a bad night? Oh, it won't be the police stopping me, it'll be the blooming army to stop me.
goodness.
That's how effed up I can be. Even though they make my anger therapist cry.
Thanks for coming on, Chloe.
Anyway, I've got to go as well, so because I need to go to Tesco's and get some stuff.
I need to go and do that. Thanks for coming up, guys.
No really problem. Like I said, I just wanted to get off bloody hell, I can't speak now. I just had to get off bloody hell. I had to get it off my chest, so I just thought I'll come on and just say, look, I don't give a shit about the crap about ICE and all that and cultural stuff. Only thing I care about is like I just want to enjoy life to the full. I don't care about Palestine. I don't care about Israel. I don't care about police. I don't care about this. I don't care. No, I just want. You got one life. Enjoy it. Don't give a toss about what anyone else thinks. That's what I'm getting at. That's why I'm trying to say that Marilyn Manson. Yeah, he's a dick. He's an idiot.
He can be a problem for other reasons. I don't admit that.
Yeah, but when I was younger, I liked his music.
Yeah, same.
Same as Rob Zombie, because the reason I got into heavy metal was because of the film's Matrix. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. And I'm like, Chloe, you need to apologise. I'm more worried about the Argyles. No, not the Argyles. Where you from? The Glens. Oh, whatever. Anyway, so like I said, yeah, that's how. That's what I was trying to get at. Because don't forget, like I said earlier on, we got judged for wearing tattoos and having beards and having piercings in the workplace. And where's the justice in that?
I honestly, I was actually annoyed at stuff like that because it's like as long as somebody's doing their job, it shouldn't matter what. If they've got tattoos, if they've got I know people used to be fired because they were wearing a hijab and stuff. I was like, they're doing their job, just let them do their job, and they're trying to dress as respectfully as they can around what their style. So just let them do their job. But too many people actually cared about their appearance over their work ethic.
Yeah. I mean, granted, my wife is pure full-on goth. She wears the makeup, she wears this, she wears that. And me, I just think, I just wear black shorts and a t-shirt. Especially in the winter. I call them now, they call the shorts now the new kilts.
Yeah.
Sure, they might not be the same as kilts, but at least they're halfway up your knees,
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, I had to come on just because that ICE thing, that got me.
Sorry if it caused anybody to feel irate with it. It's just, I'm asking it because I hear I'm for ICE, I'm with ICE, and they don't actually explain.
Oh no, you shouldn't mask it. You should go for a throttle.
Why?
No, you shouldn't go mask it. You should go for a throttle. That's what I would do if I was in America.
Yeah.
Full throttle, like go straight at them. But if you do that, you probably will get arrested. But me, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. They're idiots. They're assholes.
Yeah.
That should be a new slogan. ICE can melt.
Yeah, I appreciate your perspective. And it's like your view on Trump. I have a slightly different perspective because I'm not MAGA. I'm not MAGA.
I'm not anything. I'm nobody. I'm just the guy who just wants to speak my mind. Mind you, to be fair, instead of like having the American anthem, no, it should be now. No, the new American anthem should be now with Trump involved. I've got the window just for you. Can you imagine all the Americans just singing that?
Probably, yeah.
I can just imagine that.
Probably.
And here's another thing. This is just before I go, and I want to get this off my chest. How is it, right, that Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck, but yet Donald Trump got shot in the ear? That is a riddle I want to know.
the reason why they had two completely different wounds because the shooter on Charlie Kirk, the pure of Charlie Kirk.
Right, that's the shoot. I meant to say pew-pewed.
Yeah, I know it's stupid. I have to use this, but I could get convicted.
I know. You could just blame me on that one.
He from what was said about Charlie Kirk is that he didn't intend for the neck injury. He was intending for the head. But the bullet misfired and went for the jugular. And for Charlie's sake, it was no. He shouldn't have died. He shouldn't have been unalive. But because of that redirection, he died. He unalived quickly, and he didn't feel anything. Whilst with Trump's assassination attempt, I think the guy, if I recall, the guy was shooting multiple rounds, so he was firing for the head anyway. But then one went straight past his ear. But it's because Donald Trump had tilted his head the opposite direction that it went for the ear. If he hadn't had moved his head, it would have gone through.
No, they said to the assassin, you only had one bullet.
Which one? Sorry.
Oh, Trump. No, Charlie to the assassin. No, the Donald Trump one. I'd be like, you're supposed to be an assassin. You only got one bullet, and you wasted it. God.
With Trump's first assassination, considered from what we've counted, he's had 6, and that's just insane. But the first time, the guy had multiple rounds, so there was 3. They recorded up to 3 bullets firing because it was like a form of rifle. It was. I think they said there was one round that hit him, but then potentially was another round that missed. So there was at least 2 rounds shot.
But I'll tell you one thing that makes me laugh. If I was with the assassin, if I was his mate, just to tell him what to do and stuff, I'd be like, and he'd just see him. I just see Donald Trump just moving his head. He'd be like, I missed. I goes, a Russian could do better than that. Jeez, God.
I mean, even though I don't agree with everything Trump says, because as I say, I'm not a MAGA, I don't fully support everything that he says blindly. I do critique him a lot of stuff that he says. I don't think assassination is the way to go. It needs to be due process with all of this, and assassination, I don't agree with any of it.
Yeah.
It's like with Charlie Kirk, I don't agree that he was unalived just because people disagreed with him when he was literally sitting out in campuses talking to people and saying, why do you disagree with me when this is why I disagree with you? And he was unalived just for doing that.
Yeah.
And I think it's wrong. The same with Donald Trump. You may disagree with him politically, but people shouldn't be going around saying, I'm going to unalive you just because I disagree with you. It's like Donald Trump recently had the New York mayor come to the Oval Office and actually talked, and Donald Trump says, I actually came away from the conversation agreeing with some of the things he was saying. But the New York mayor, I won't pronounce his name because I'll get it wrong, I'm sorry. But he, despite finding stuff finding stuff in common that they agreed on, the New York mayor still walked away from the conversation thinking he was a fascist or a racist. And they said, and the news reporter was like, would you call him a racist? And he was going to avoid it. And Johnson, just call me that because I know you call me racist anyway, so it's fine. I don't care. So it just shows there's a difference in political opinion, because Donald Trump may not agree with him, but he said, actually, there's some points that you made that I actually agree with. But the other guy, the New York mayor, said, I will disagree with you regardless. Even if we agree on some stuff, you're still a toxic person to me. And that shows there's a difference in viewpoint and how one side is more rigid than the other.
Yeah. Oh well, potato, tomato.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on anyway.
But like I said though, I mean, like, just enjoy life to the full. Don't listen to what other people say. Don't listen to what these guys say. Just live your life.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, hell, I mean, I had to change my mind. People say to me, "Viking, why did you change your style from goth to what you are now?" I'm like, that's not true. I'm still a bit of a goth, metalhead, rocker, punk.
A lot of goths slow down with the makeup because I do get gothed up every now and again when I've got the time, but at the moment I don't. But it's due to time, convenience.
It's like me. It's like what I said earlier on. It's like what I said earlier on. I was wanting to grow my hair long again so I can get dreadlocks, but now I'm thinking, no, just stick to razor. Just stick to being bald. Just shave every day,
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, I think I've missed that opportunity for dreadlocks. But what can you do?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go because obviously it's gone late now and I need to do dinner. So, but thanks for coming on. It was good.
No problem. It was nice talking to you.
Speak to you later. Hopefully you come on again.
Absolutely. I'll try to be more calmer than I was, but it's just I had to get all off my chest. But like I said, once you get to know me, I'm actually a decent guy.
Yeah.
It's my wife you need to be scared of.
No, it's fine. My partner's similar. Like he swears like a sailor as well, so I'm kind of used to it. But I'm just like,
I can tell the way he sounds. He sounds like a proper Viking wannabe. Not in a nasty way.
Yeah, probably.
But like me. Awesome. Right. Oh, rock on.
Well, I'll speak to you later. See you guys later. I'll be back on. Hopefully, I'll be back on next Friday, like normal. But if not, it'll be Saturday. Right. Bye.